All right, everyone. It looks like we are live. Welcome to the show. Today we have a pretty amazing topic, I think, that we need to talk about. It has been one that for so long people have been asking me, and I'm sure as well as my guest as well.
Oh yeah.
And I've got Erika Wilmore. She's a good friend of mine on Facebook. She's also a psychic medium. A internet entrepreneurs. Girl knows more than I know what to even do with, but so many things. But this has been something I actually saw a rant on her page yesterday, which kind of incited this whole decision on doing this. And it was based on how people can find a real psychic and who are the real ones who are full of shit. And we know there's a whole bunch of them out there, don't we, girl, that
Oh
are
yeah.
absolutely full of
And
shit.
they're popping up every day. They pop up every day. And it's, let me just say this. It's awesome when you invite new people into the psychic world. That's great because if I would to tell the absolute truth, do I believe that everybody has some ability? Absolutely, but to varying degrees. That's the key. And the thing is, we get people popping up as these master psychics every day. And yeah, let's talk about that.
Absolutely. And hey, Olympia, it's nice. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. And hello, Carlos, all the way from Brazil. So good to see you, my friend. All right. So, again, this is the first time we're doing this. So I think it's going to take a little time for people to kind of get on this. And I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. So don't put too much on me, just in case.
I think we can do this. And Be Live is actually really good software, so I think we're in good hands.
Well, since I just found it because for whatever reason, I found out last minute that as far as the Facebook Live app, in order to add people to it, you have to be on your phone. So I'm like, okay, well, so let me put it on my phone. Well, for whatever reason, of course, 15 minutes before the show, now my phone doesn't want to stream. And I'm like, well, are you kidding me? So then I'm trying to like search it, like, can I add it from the computer? And everything's saying no, you have to have an iPhone or an iPad. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding.
Oh, I
So
know. I know. I believe me. I hear the pain. It's like almost like as if they didn't want this to be broadcast this morning. Because I promise you, I went to look for my webcam to plug it in. Like, hey, and in the spot that it's always in. Of course not. Absolutely, of course not. So I snatched my husband's webcam. Yeah. So
gotta
we're
do what
gonna
we
do the
gotta
best that
do,
we
right?
can with technology. Exactly, we're gonna do what we gotta do. It's the message, right? It's the
That's
message.
That is right. Good morning, Lily. So good to see you, my friend. Hey, Eddie. I'm glad that you're liking the live stream this morning. So, again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. It'll pop up on the screen. We'll both be able to see them, and we will do our best to answer them. Now, again, girl, let's talk a little bit about your rant yesterday and what kind of triggered that, because I absolutely loved it, because I've had those days as well. I mean, anybody who follows my Facebook page knows that I have a lot of these rants that I put on my page because it just irritates the hell out of me dealing with this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about what triggered you yesterday.
Okay, so I posted the rant, and I'll just give a quick, brief explanation of what the rant was. Okay, so it's just basically, I do, like Christina says, I am an internet marketer, internet entrepreneur, basically. And I also help other female entrepreneurs or internet entrepreneurs establish their business online and things like that. So I primarily am talking in that world, right? And so someone had seen, well, they knew me. And some years back, I only marketed that I was a reader. That was just what I did online. And I thought those two worlds were separate. I learned differently, and this world is not so separate. So I guess, if you're Googleable, people will Google you and they will find out who you are. And so I got asked, didn't you used to be a psychic? And I thought, wait, well, that's a strange way to ask that. You never used to be a psychic. Psychics are many things. It's a gift that's given to you, and you can either choose to go gung ho with it, or you can keep it on the sideline and use it to basically make what you do, enhance what it is that you do. And so that's what I choose to do. I use it on the side to enhance what I do. And so I thought it was really off-putting that she would say, "Didn't you used to be a psychic?" And then I thought about what I had been seeing in my timelines and all the complaints that I had gotten. And usually when my clients come to me, they have like been beaten by all these, "We need to pray over 90 white candles to get rid of the evil eye." And by the time they come to me, they're like, whimpering babies. And I'm trying to put them back together again with letting them know that, no, you have the ability to see these things too. And so it was really irritating to be asked that. It wasn't the client's fault. It wasn't anything like that. What it was all these instant psychics that pop up overnight with all of their. So see, look at your set. You see what it is. You know exactly like I know. We could be in the middle of a subway, and boom, spirit hits. We get to reading. We don't need an I mean, they're beautiful, they're great, but we don't need that there. We don't need, I mean, we use crystals, we use things like that, but it's not, we don't have like our whole background painted to say, "Hey, I'm psychic." And that is really starting to, how can I put it, peeve me. I'll put it that way, because I'm seeing it pop up, and it's just everything we have fought against, saying, "No, we're regular people just like you. We just have tuned into our ability. Just like you. Hey, my house looks like yours. We're regular people just like you." And then we see this charade and we get Miss Cleo all over again. And it's just like, God dang it to hell. And me being an islander on top of that, it's like, I'm fighting Miss Cleo stigmas left and right. It's just, it's special. So yeah, that was the inspiration for the rant. Is just seeing it pop up, and then more than anything, seeing the people who go to see these people after the fact.
Yes.
They're raw when they come to see you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, we got a feedback for some reason. Are you hearing it on your side?
No, I'm good over here.
Okay, maybe. Oh, it's gone now. Okay, well, who knows? Me and electronics, it's no different than when I'm doing my regular shows. It's like, yeah, shut up, girl, shut up. We're just going to bleep you out, give you technical difficulties. But I do agree with you, because, again, I mean, now obviously, and everybody knows I'm in the paranormal, and the paranormal has been my whole life. Psychic abilities, paranormal, it has always been very normal for me because I've known no different. But coming out in the paranormal publicly, especially after my near-death experience, it was one of those things that it was not welcomed whatsoever. I do have to say, I mean, coming out 15 years ago and saying I'm a psychic on a paranormal team, you were discounted immediately, the whole team, because you were relying on any information that would be given from a psychic. And it used to be so hard. And anybody who has psychic abilities truly, has them, especially really strong, knows that the most of our lives, we kind of live like two separate lives. Like we were, as you said, we're just normal people, and we can, like, for me, I'm like a chameleon. I can get along with anybody. But as soon as they would hear anything about psychic abilities, spirits, ghosts,
immediately
changes you, everything. Like, oh, now you're something different. So it was something that we really had to be very, very careful about coming forward with. And the attacks, because of all of the, Miss Cleo's and Dionne Warwick's psychic hotlines, and all the different things that were going on, the fortune tellers that were charging people, tens of thousands of dollars to get rid of their curses. It really put a dark stigma on what we do. So not a lot of us were real comfortable coming out. Now, mind you, I definitely wasn't comfortable coming out into the public, only because of everything I had experienced and the time that we were still in. But my near-death experience, one of the things that I was told was that this was something I had to do. I had to come back. I had to be open. I had to not only educate people, but I had to help them. So it was scary. And so we come out, and of course, at least for a good 7-8 years of those, I mean, people just trashed me left and right. I had been accused of, when helping on an unsolved murder of a local girl, I was the rumor went around that I was the prime suspect because that was the only reason I would have known the information. Thank God in the interview, I literally said, like, look, I see this guy. It's going to take a while, but I see this guy being caught and arrested and convicted via DNA. So he will be caught. But you would be surprised at how many people believe that I must have killed this girl because I had this inside information. And it took a year. And a year later, they actually caught the guy, DNA. I put it out there. And right about that time, I think is like when it really got popular, like Dead Files started coming on television.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear, as soon as Dead Files came out and they started showing these television shows utilizing psychics in the paranormal, it was like a freaking light switch popped on.
Mm-hmm.
I literally knew people for 5, 10 years, right? Like, I mean, again, we all have abilities, so I'm not saying that, people don't, people that come into us don't have psychic abilities.
But
But we both know it's different.
It's different. You see, I love your story because it is so parallel with mine. I've been this way all of my life. In fact, I come from people who are this way. I use it. This is the thing, it's conditioning. I still speak about it using that language, this way or different than, or because you're made to feel that way. It's difficult to come out of the closet with that. I didn't know that there was a closet until I met the outside world. And now that was a stone cold shocker because I'm sitting in my house and it's in my home where I was raised, it was encouraged. It was like, oh, okay, that one's got it. Okay. So they taught me how to develop it. In my house, it was something that was congratulated. It was celebrated. But as soon as I hit the outside world, and mind you, I went to Catholic school on top of that. So when I hit the outside world and started speaking to people who have crossed over or seeing things like that, or it was difficult. It was very difficult. Other kids didn't accept it. It was just difficult. It was extremely difficult. Now, fast forwarding, getting into my adult life, I always read, I just didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of, like a business. It's when you see things and you know that you can help or you can assist, then you do. And that was just how I took my abilities in my early adulthood. Growing older and then moving heavily into the marketing space where my money gets made, I tried to implement the both of them back in like 2012. And that was a disaster. It was just absolutely disastrous because we were labeled the woo-woos and nobody wanted to work with the woo-woos. And it was tough. It was very difficult. Being who we are, what people okay, I'm pretty sure you can understand what I'm going to say. Being who we are, our lives get lived differently. Like you say, we're living two lives at once. So we're normal people here, but I can still hear the person that you can't see. I can still see the things that you don't see going on in here. I'm still trying to get through that. In my house, it is a rule. There are no mirrors in my house. My house gets built a particular way. It gets decorated a particular way because of the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. This is my life. This is my head. This is what I get to see. No, it is sometimes not a blessing because you see things that you don't want to see. And people think that you're involved in things you couldn't possibly be involved in just simply because you can see it. When I first arrived here to Idaho, it was my husband and I, and we were sitting with another girl who, basically we were friends, and I came out here. My family stayed with her when we first got here. And we were talking about a murder of a 2-year-old that had happened here before I arrived to Idaho. And so you know how that is. They begin to show you in picture. You can see, you can hear, you can taste, you can smell everything. When you're clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, you get to utilize all of these senses to be able to take in what's happening. So I'm sitting there and I'm seeing what happened. I saw the guy leave the 2-year-old. I'm telling them, I'm sorry, it gets a little frustrating. So I'm sitting there and I'm telling them what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the parents and I'm seeing their involvement. I described the mother and the father and how they were sitting. She Googled and pulls up a picture of the mother and the father. I'd never even heard of, I'm just new, brand spanking new to Idaho. I'm from Vegas. We don't get Idaho news in Vegas. Come on. So right. I'm like, it was, how do I put it? it was one of those moments where I don't know how I know these things. I can't explain it. It makes me as uncomfortable as it makes you. If I had a choice, maybe I wouldn't have chosen this. Maybe I wouldn't have chosen this gift, but it's here and it is what it is. Saying all that to say it's disheartening and it's painful when you see people instantly pop up. Like you said, disclaimer, anybody can reach their abilities at any given time. Strange things happen in life, like near-death experiences. I had an interesting thing happen when I had surgery. I got to meet my panel, basically all of my guides. So it was interesting. Things like that can happen. Sure enough, with that disclaimer, I still hold true to, if this is not your path, don't claim it, because you have no clue. This is not a joke. It is not funny. It is not a joke. Look, you don't want to be the person who, okay, I wrote a story about it on my Facebook page maybe 2 years ago, 2016, 2015, before we moved here. My husband is sitting over here. He's listening. He usually experiences all of this with me. And he's the one that was part of the rant. Say hi, Alexander.
Hi, Alexander.
My husband. You're two of a kind, most definitely.
That's right. I love you guys.
Thank you. We love you too, Mama. I feel like be careful what you wish for. This is not, it's not like TV. It's very difficult to maintain semblance of normalcy in your regular life when you are dealing with things that people will call you crazy over. Sincerely, it was like I said, 3 years ago, I was doing a mediumship reading for someone else. And when you do that, sometimes, well, you know how this is. Other people will come through, other things will come through. And sometimes not even for that person, but they'll come through. It's an open pathway. So they'll come through. So a young man came through and he told me he recently passed, like within a few days had recently passed, but he wanted to hug his mother one last time. So I'm sitting with this kid on my back for 2 weeks, mind you. Okay. I don't know who this kid's mother is, so I'm down at the courts, I'm having issues with my landlord. They wouldn't fix our apartment, so I'm preparing to sue my landlord. So I'm just saying these things so you understand how normal life can be. I'm prepping to sue a landlord and
dealing with this in between.
Here comes, right, and here he is, smack on my shoulder, and here's the mother, and here's the father. They're dealing with the last final things of their son's estate right there. And I looked at them. I didn't know that they're dealing with their. So I heard somebody say, the father said, what did the father say? The father said something about somebody passing, and I heard passing. I turned around and said, oh, okay, please forgive me. And here I am in the middle of Las Vegas, Clark County courts. Okay. Here I am in the middle of the courts saying, okay, hey, I know this is going to sound crazy as fuck. Didn't say it that way, but you understand. Right. I'm just going to sound crazy as all outdoors, but I got a young man who looks like this. He is about this age. He's presenting to me this particular age. It doesn't mean that this is his age when he passed, but this is the one that he's presenting to me. And so I talked to the mother, and the mother is like, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with her. Like, did I say the wrong? Am I, sorry, did I get the wrong people? No, it was the mother and the father. The father hugged me so tight. I had never felt a hug like that before. It was like he was hugging his son. You understand what I'm saying? And that's like I said, Las Vegas County courts. When you ask for this, you ask for it to be nonstop, not of your control. You're subject to their whim at any given time. And I'll say this: you're able to control some parts of it. Yes, as you get more sophisticated and you get more
experienced
dealing
with it, right?
Dealing with it, you learn how to control certain things, and you learn how to shut off parts of your mind to certain things. But the point is, when you have a situation like that, I risk making a fool of myself in front of a room full of people to tell people something that they can't see.
Right. And we never know how they may react.
Exactly.
Because some people are completely against this. Like, I've literally, been bugged so much by a spirit to give a message to somebody, and they've turned around and cussed me out, told me I'm going to hell, I need to go to church. I'm just like, whoa, okay, but so you never know. I mean, I had an experience kind of like I love when I'm talking to you because we have so many experiences that are so similar. And I love, because I think that sharing stuff like this really helps others because they don't feel, like it's just them. Because we do have a lot of things that happen similar to us. So I was in the hospital a couple years ago, and I had surgery. And I had a girlfriend of mine who was coming up and she was visiting me in the hospital. And she said, you know, Christina, she's like, I have to go for a little while. I'm going to go and visit my friend. I've got a friend that her son is in the hospital. And I said, oh, how sad. And I said, okay. And she's like, yeah, I was telling her about you and what you can do, and that, I was visiting you as well. And like, she was totally turned off by the whole psychic, phenomena. And I said, yeah, I get it. She goes, but I just so wish that like you could give her a reading, because I know that it would help so much. And I'm like, oh, I don't go out and give readings to people who don't want them, but thank you for, for the opinion on this. And so she left and she came back, and so she wanted to go outside and have a cigarette. And so I was able to take my little IV pole, and so we walked, downstairs out in front of the hospital where this little smoking area. And so I'm standing there and I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden this lady starts walking up to us, and she goes, oh my God, that's my friend I was telling you about. And I'm like, oh, great, okay. So, she comes up and she's like, hey, so they're kind of chit-chatting. And as soon as the lady stands there, now mind you, my friend's already let me know that she does not believe in the whole psychic stuff, so, and is very turned off by it. So all of a sudden, this little girl around 5 years old pops up right next to me and yanks on my shirt. And she's like, ma'am, can you give my mommy a message for me? And I'm looking at her and I'm looking at the lady and I'm like, oh, why now? Like, and again, because we have no control over when messages come. And what was kind of funny is I was like, look, I'm telling her, I don't think I can to do this for you. Like, your mom doesn't believe in this. And like, I don't know if she'll be welcome to listen to. And this little girl is the first time, I'm telling you, in 50 years that I have been threatened and blackmailed by a child spirit. She literally told me that if I did not give the message, that she would stay with me until I did.
Like I
And
said,
I'm
those
like, what? 5-year-old, what do you know? If you were my kid, boy, you'd be on punishment right now talking to me like this. But okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, literally, I must have sat there for about 15 minutes listening to them talk, just not saying anything. And finally, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I've got to do this. I said, okay, I know that this is probably going to come across really, really strange to you, but I need to ask you a question. And she's like, sure. And I said, there's a little girl here that's about 5 years old, and I described her hair, what she was wearing, everything. And I said, and she has a message for you. And the look on her face just switched, and she got so angry. And she looked at my friend and she's like, what the hell did you tell her? I told you I don't believe in this satanic stuff. And like, now I'm looking all crazy too, like, oh crap, like I didn't expect all this, right? And I said, okay, look, I get it. I get it. You don't believe in this. You don't understand what's going on, but please let me just give you this message and then take it for what it's worth. You can discount it, throw it away, whatever you want to do, punch me if you like. I don't know. But I have to give you this message. I said, because she's very, very adamant that I need to. So I give her the message, and her face starts to change. And she said to tell Grandpa that it's not his fault. And I'm so sorry that you guys are sad, but I'm okay. And she turns around and again, she looks at her friend, and my friend's like, look, I swear to you, I promise I did not tell her anything other than that I had a friend that was here. And so she looks and she says, what else? And I said, and so I look at this little girl like, all right, girl, you better give me something like that. There is no way that I could like, just guess on, right? And so she says, tell my mom that she will know that you're real because of what she told me when I died, and that she holds me close to her heart. Just tell her that. And I'm like, okay, well, everybody holds their people close to their heart when they die. Like I'm thinking like, that ain't good enough, girl. I need some real stuff. And she's like, just tell her. So I tell her this, and all of a sudden the woman like just bursts into tears. Now, I don't know if they're good tears. I don't know if they're bad tears. I don't know what the hell's wrong with the lady. Like, she might be bipolar. Like, she might just be really emotional. I didn't know what the hell to expect. Like, I'm just standing there like with my eyes like wide open. Like, what did I just do? And she says, oh my God. And I said, what? And she stuck her hand down her shirt. She had a sweatshirt hoodie on. And she pulls out this necklace. And it was she had her jewelry made of the ashes of her daughter, and it was a heart, and it was on a chain that was on her next to her heart. And she said that when she had put it on herself, when she had it made and she put it on her, she told her, "You'll never be away from me. You will always be right here by my heart."
Mm-hmm.
And she just
Beautiful.
turned around and she just looked at me and she's like, "How in the world did you know this?" And I said, "Well, believe it or not, like, this is a message from her. Like, obviously, I didn't know. I don't know you. I didn't know that your daughter had died." And she's like, "Well, how did she die?" So I asked the little girl, and oh, it was so heartbreaking because she was at her house and they were all playing. Her grandfather had came by and to see them, and so her and her little brother were out in the front. They were playing. Grandpa gets in his truck. He puts it in reverse. He's talking to his daughter. They don't look, and the little girl is riding her little toy or whatever right behind the truck, and he backed up and he ran over her and killed her instantly.
See, those are the things that people don't understand. You get when they talk, you don't know what they're going to tell you. Let me ask you this too. Okay, see, when I was younger, they would present to me however they wanted, like the way they passed, whatever happened.
Yes.
Like I didn't have to go, okay, so how did you pass? No, they would come to me the way they passed. If it was a gunshot, then I could see that. If it was, like you said, they got hit, or I could see that. That was the word. You're like 10 years old and you're seeing
Yes.
things like, and people don't get, how do you explain that to the outside world? And then if you have regular life going on, meaning you got a family, you got parents, you got school, you got this, you got that going on, how do you create, like, how do you create the normalcy with those two really different things? That's what I can't understand, why anybody would fake that. I can't. It's like I don't get it. I mean, you got to understand. See, it's not about us, and I don't mean you, because but
Right.
I'm speaking to the people who are watching this. When you are doing a reading for someone, it's not about you. In fact, if you think that it's about you, you need to stop reading right now, because you're not going to hear a damn thing. It's not about you. You are literally puppet.
Right.
And you are trying to understand what this person or these people are showing you and telling you, because it's not always where they're talking. Sometimes they're showing you things, and you got to interpret the thing they're showing you, and you got to interpret that close and right.
And it never makes any sense to us.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Because what people have to understand is that the information is not for us. We're not supposed to understand it. All that we are is, like I said, is a vessel just to give the information. It's either going to make sense or it is not. People are either going to be able to validate it or not.
You got to be bold enough to be able to say it, because the thing about it is, it's not for you. It doesn't matter if you get embarrassed. See, my husband calls it a beautiful burden. That's what he says. Because see, there's nothing more beautiful in the world than last night I finished the reading for a very long time client. Like I said, I don't even take new clients because of, so a long time client, she, at the end of it, oh my God, I feel renewed. Oh my God, I understand. I got clarity. When you hear that, it's like, get it, girl. Go on ahead. I'm so glad that you're in the chamber. Make your dreams happen. We are removed from that whole situation. It doesn't have anything to do with that. When they go, thank you. No, it's not thank me. This was here for you. Anybody who can. Okay, now we're starting to get into how I read or what I see. So let me explain really quick. This is in my brain, the way my brain is wired. I understand being able to tap into psychic information or information. It's like opening a book. I call it the grid. If you can read the grid, all the information that ever was, ever will be, ever is right now is on that grid, and you can tap that. It's energy, and you can read it. You can see it. There's different, how do I explain this? There's levels to this. You understand what I'm saying. There's different. Oh, my little guy just woke up, so please forgive if you hear a baby in the background.
No worries.
This is in the house. So you see that there's different levels to all of this. We're talking about just psychic ability, but there's so many different types of psychic ability.
Right.
We would have to cover. And then there's some of us who are blessed with, or either we hit all the branches of the psychic ability tree on the way down, and that we have so many other different gifts or different abilities all together. It's just, how do I put this without becoming frustrated? my whole thing is I just really get frustrated when people assume this as who they are when they have no clue of what you're assuming. It's not a joke and it's not something to play with. You are talking to people who are hanging on your every word like God. I said that
Yeah.
and I meant that. They are hanging on your word like God. And it's to communicate, it's not me, it's not my words. It's hard to get that understood. It's a difficult task. It takes years of being able to master how to communicate these things and to understand you got to take care of the person on the other side of this reading. You don't just get to, yes, exactly. Very much like the Akashic Record.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Greg.
I just didn't see. I'm trying to explain this for lay people and use the words that
Right.
know. So I call it a grid, but basically Akashic Record. There you go. Everything that was, ever will be, and is right now. There
Right.
you go. What I'm saying is, it's just you have to. This, like I said, it took me years to understand how to care for the person on the other side of the reading. The things that you should say and the things that you shouldn't say. The things you should omit and the things you should include. It takes a lot of responsibility to sit in that seat and to read for someone. And these people who are doing this these days, it's just interesting to see how they have no care for the person on the other side of the reading, total disregard for what they're going to be like days after this. They're still thinking about these words.
Right.
They're still hearing you communicating their loved ones' words. They're still very much in that moment. And these people who are just like, okay, that's $1,000 there, that's 25,000 there. They don't understand the damage that they do when these people walk away. It's like
the damage that it does is being a psychic as well.
yeah, absolutely.
I so agree with you, especially like with, okay, so I have I have a lot of these stories, but the most recent is we had a client, well, actually a friend of mine had a client, and she had been having some really huge activity at her home, and she had been having it for a while. And, she thought maybe she had a curse put on her. She'd had teams come out. She had a witch come out and, talk to her and do some stuff. The girl wanted to charge her $3,500 to fix her problem. Now, the woman didn't have $3,500, but the interesting thing is they were like, oh, okay, well, how about $125? Now, how do you go from 3,500 to 125, right? First of all, definite indication that you're a bullshitter. But then they come in, and so they've told this person, oh, you've got demons, you've got this, you've got that. And the person that was helping her is an experienced investigator, but he said, I just don't know how to help, and so he contacted me and said, would you be willing to, maybe consult on this? And I said, absolutely. So I was supposed to go out there. I got sick, couldn't make it out there. So for me, I can, if I just call somebody, or especially if I like Skype somebody so I can visually, they can walk me around their house, I can do the same thing. I can do it remotely. Like, I don't have to be there, but a lot of people cannot do that, but I can. And so I went, and the first thing, she's walking me around. I'm picking up all of this stuff, and she's just amazed because, again, my friend Mike, he knows not to tell me any information about the client. Don't want to know anything ahead of time. So I literally, the day we talked, that was it. We added each other, talked on the phone, walked through. I gave her information that like just blew her away that I could actually get. And then I said, well, the good, news is, yeah, you have all this stuff going on, but the good news is this is a human spirit. This is absolutely not a demon. Like, this was like, this guy was a real asshole, I have to say. Like, I do think that when he was alive, because he hadn't crossed over, but I do believe that when he was alive, he was maybe like a sexual predator, because he was very interested in like the teenage daughter, one of those kind of spirits that like likes to lurk in the bathroom with you and, just really make you feel uncomfortable. And she had been told, so many things by so many people for so long. And yet, this witch lady is supposedly a psychic as well. So, I mean, again,
that makes me even more angry.
We already know. Don't even get me started, girlfriend. And so it was kind of like, all right, well, all that I can do is I can assure you that I can help. And again, a lot of people had told her that. So I decided, okay, I'm going to write out all the instructions. I called my friend and I'm like, okay, what kind of cleansings do you normally do? And, he says, oh, the sage cleanse. I'm like, oh, not going to be good enough. Like, this is like an all around, multifaceted, a cleansing that I do. So we're going to cleanse with the sage, we're going to salt, we're going to, seal it with the oils, and we're going to do a grid around the property, right? So we're going to really like keep them protected. We're going to put bells on the doors, inside the doors after the cleansing to keep them from coming back, following them kids back in, all these different things. And so he's like, are you sure it's going to work? And I said, look, if you follow my instructions to the T, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have never, ever now I've had a few cases that it's taken me a while to get rid of whatever's there, but I've never had one that has not worked. So I'm like, if you do this correctly, everything will be fine. So he calls me on Saturday or messages me on Saturday. And he's like, all right, we're at the client's house. And I'm like, all right, call me if you run into anything. But I had typed everything out, so it was very clear of step-by-step instructions. He finished and he says, okay, we're done. And I said, well, my question is, so what did you feel like? How did it feel when you left? And he says, interestingly enough, the energy changed a lot. And even the client said that. And I said, oh, well, that's a great first step. And he kept saying, well, let's keep our fingers crossed. And I'm like, no, there's no such thing as like keeping our fingers crossed. Like, this thing works. Like, stop, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone. So I call the client herself, and I'm like, so how are things? And she's just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, everything seems to be back to normal. I'm so happy. And then she was like, well, and hopefully it doesn't come back. I'm like, look, if this worked, you're good. You are good. Like, right. But again, this woman had spoken to multiple people, psychics, investigator teams, like you name it, and everybody gave her different, yes, especially the witch. Oh my God, yeah. And then milked her for like, oh, go buy like a salt rock, salt lamp, and and get this, and and get all the candles to at $25 a piece, and make sure you like, no, stop. I hate to call people out, but it gets to a point that it's like when it's interfering in people's lives like that, I almost feel like if nobody else will, I have to.
You have to. Exactly. You get angry, and it's like a public service announcement. You want to say so that other people know. Like in my rant, I talked about my husband when he had that. Well, let me say this first. The reason is because, of course, what am I? What do I practice? Of course, we know that that's what I practice. So, but the thing about it is if this is not your lane, stay in your lane, because you do way more harm than you do good. My thing is, I'm not a demonologist. I know when I'm dealing with a human spirit or something that was human and with something that wasn't, because the energy is totally different. You can tell that. Can I make the demon go away? I'm going to be honest, sweetheart. That's not the magic I practice. I don't know how to make the demon go away. I stay in my lane. So I do no harm. That's the first charge of being a witch. And it harm none, do as ye will. So my goal is to harm none. Anytime I'm doing this, is to harm none. So, okay, moving on. But, my husband, in the rant, I talked about how my husband went to see a reader, and we had just gotten back to Los Angeles at the time, and I think we had maybe been there less than a month. I was still pregnant with Marcus, with my son Mars, the 6-year-old. And we were driving down the street, and then we just saw the sign that said $10 psychic. So we looked at each other and we were like, yeah, let's just go. It's going to be fun. It was not fun. I didn't see that coming. Psychic joke. No kidding. But I did not see it coming. So we're in there, and
that's because we never see the stuff that's coming for us. It's just for everybody else, and people don't realize that.
No, I can't. Here's the thing. With us, we can get gut instinct. Everybody has gut instinct. You know whether or not something is. We don't follow it. We're just like everybody else. We don't follow it. Like, this is totally closed. We don't follow it. Like, we don't know any better. My husband is over here talking about, yes, it's what I always say. So
we give great advice. We give great, help, but we don't follow any of it. Like, I mean, people always tell me, they're like, really? Well, why didn't you follow your own advice? Well, because I didn't.
It's mine, and
do that. Right. It's just different.
About that, No, it's true. Like, we don't follow that. We can get gut instinct about certain things, but we can't, like, I get psychic images, or I hear, or I can feel, touch, taste, or smell something for myself. That doesn't happen. All I get is a gut instinct, like, yeah, girl, maybe, or yeah, girl, maybe not. Yeah, that person's okay. Well, maybe not. And I can tell those things, but I can't see what's going to happen for me. Like, I can see what has happened with someone else. It just doesn't work that way. And it's weird because even people who are super close to me, like my husband, it took me over 10 years to be able to read my husband. I just couldn't. And he wanted me to so badly, but I don't know what that wall was. I just could not see into his energy whatsoever. Just couldn't do it. My kids are like that also. I can somewhat see into their lives, but I can't see into their lives like I can a complete stranger. I base it on this. I ask always, please do not tell me anything. I mean, like, don't tell me anything, because what happens is when you tell me things, then I'm fighting this battle in my head of, did this come from me? Did it come from me, or did this come to me? And I don't want to be fighting over, did this come from me or to me? Because if it comes from me, then it's not psychic. It's coming from me. And I need to not know anything so that my whole head, the whole bank here is clear. And whatever people are pouring, whatever my guides and things are pouring in, then I can read that confidently and know that there's no way that I know this. There's no way that I'm not creating this in my own head. It makes you feel a little crazy. So it makes you feel a little, this is coming from me, or am I making things up? So when you don't know anything, there's no question. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I don't know anything about this particular situation. Even if I know you, I don't know this particular situation. Do not tell me anything. Because the first thing people want to do is start to explain their situation to you. And that's like the worst thing you can do. Hence, moving into what not to do when you meet a psychic. Don't sit there and verbal diarrhea your life to them. Don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do, because already. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people too, when you're doing a reading, I don't want you to, when you're able to validate something, I don't want you to go into like a whole story of, all this. No, let me finish the whole reading. And then at that point, we can go back and we can go over any questions and try to figure it all out, or stuff like that. But again, what people don't understand is, like, when they're trying to validate and give you all this, then all that it does is really kind of mess up everything that we're doing. It can interrupt like a lot of things can happen, and people don't get that. Now, I will say, because for most, I would tell people, like, don't give a bunch of your information to the person that you're wanting to read. Like, they don't need to know, like, unless they're an astrologist, they don't need to know your birth date, and they don't need to know, like, where you live, because those are all clues that they're going to Google you.
Exactly. And thank you. Not only will they Google you, but here's the thing. Most of us who live in this realm, we love things that are esoteric. We are eclectic with our knowledge. I used to write what do you call that? Please help me out. See, English is my second language. I used to write articles. My article was every month. No, I used to write a monthly for an international magazine for astrology. I used to write their scopes every month. So I know about all the different signs. Please don't tell me your birthday. I don't want to have preconceived notions about you. I don't want to think, oh, you're a Scorpio like I am, so you're going to be boom, 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 boom. And here, don't tell these people that. Just fight that feeling as hard as you can. Don't tell these people that, because here's the thing. As much as we spend time developing these abilities, they spend time developing their abilities. Like I said with my husband, he came in and he sat down and he put his keys on the table. No, your keys.
Worst thing to do.
They got their personal life on their keys. They got pictures of their kids. They got keychains like my husband had that said dad. And here's the thing. They're so sophisticated. They looked at the fact that his keychain was scratched up. So the baby I was carrying could not have been the only child he had. He had that keychain for a long time. So this brother got other kids. So I'm going to see, it's no end to what they will do. And now the digital age is here.
Right. Because before you walked in, like, they'd look to see, like, if you had a wedding ring on, they'll give you leading questions. If a psychic if you go into a reading and they say, okay, well, tell me a little bit about you and what you're here for, run for the hills. Don't even waste your money, because again, that's not what it is. Now, I do offer like small, like 3 question or 5 question mini readings where a lot of people don't want to pay for just a regular reading. Now, again, on a regular reading, I don't want any questions. I don't want any information. I just want you, I'm just going to set you up a time to do it. It's usually pretty quick and we just do it, right? But sometimes people just have very specific questions.
Right.
So I will say, okay, look, for this, I'll do a 3 question or a 5 question mini reading, and we're just going to focus just on the information that you want, and then that way I can meditate on it, get the information. But again, it's not going to be the same as a regular full psychic reading because the information that comes through just flows. When I'm just answering specific questions, that's the information I'm going to get, and that's it, and that's all, and not a lot of information to go with it. It's not like you're going to say, okay, well, now I want you to plug into Uncle Robert, because it doesn't. If people don't understand, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work like that. Thank you. I try to explain that. Listen, I'll tell you a really quick story about how different it is when they show up. You know this because it happens in your life. Once again, I'm talking to everybody who's watching.
Right.
Okay, so my husband has a really, really, really close friend who is like a sister to him. And as a matter of fact, now she's one of my clients. And I'm sorry, I see a comment.
Oh, this is great, Liv. I like that one. She says, I love the ones that go fishing for things about you just to grab onto something, or they say, you had a loss that caused you so much hurt. LOL, don't we all? Yeah, there's so many fishing questions for sure.
Right. Exactly. So because of, you know how this is, just because of the kind of person that I am, I form every bit of information that comes to me, not as a question. I will tell you, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but what they are showing me is this. It looks exactly like this, and that. That is for you. I don't know what to do with that.
Right.
Don't say anything about it. Just wait. I'm seeing this, and that. Okay, please don't shake or bobble your head or want to lead into telling me anything. Just let me give you what they're showing me. Just let me give it to you.
And then we can talk.
Then we can talk about it. But when did you or have you? Okay, no, because it doesn't make any sense. Now, I will tell you this. Sometimes when there's something that is super confusing to me and I just cannot understand it, I will say, well, they are showing me this, and I can't get it. So the only reason why they would show me this is if you were to blah, blah, blah. Or if they're showing me this is if you were to blah, blah, blah. I hope that you understand that. Let me keep going.
And that's what even if they can't validate something, because I've had, readings where a person, like I can get everything right, and then I'll have one thing that I told them, and they're like, oh, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, again, just because it doesn't click right now does not mean that it is false information. And I will literally have clients call me back months later and say, oh my God, Christina, cannot believe, remember when you were telling me this and it didn't make any sense? Because it's not always stuff that's happened in the past. Again, the information that we get is garbled, it's pieces. Exactly. It's not like, people seem to think like as psychic mediums that when we give readings that like it's like a telephone and we just ring up Uncle Bob and we just have a question and answer session with them, and because when people start saying, oh, can you ask Uncle Bob this, and can you ask him where this is, like it doesn't work like that. They give you the information that they want to, and that's all. Like I mean, I have seen other mediums who will say connect with one person and they will go back and forth. For me, it's not that way, nor has it ever been that way. Like I can ask questions to the spirit. They may give me information. They may not. The information they want to come out is all that they're going to give me. And again, it's not always audible. I mean, sometimes, like you said, it's just pictures of things. So I don't know if they've already happened or if it's going to happen in the future. Like it's not like with the picture it says future, information. Oh, past information.
No, it doesn't work that way. I try really hard to explain. I try really hard to explain that. It's interesting that you mentioned. See, I'm so glad that you said that. Like for me, it works like this. Okay, for me, it works like this. They're going to give me the information that they want to give me. Sometimes it might not just be them. They might pull in someone else because they need those. They need to complete the message together.
Right.
Sometimes the person on the other end will ask a question of this person. I let them do that because I want to see if they're going to answer or not. I don't know if they're going to answer. They may or may not, but I let them know ahead of time. I don't know. They may or may not answer. Please. And then they'll go, if they can't answer, then they blame it on you. Bad
Right.
psychic, fake
Right.
psychic. You can't this or you can't that. Listen, like I said, look, have I given readings where I felt like I have failed? Absolutely. Because there's times when you just can't read that other person's energy, even though they may claim they want you to, or they may ask you to. You just can't, there's something about it. There's this block right there, and you just can't get it. And you'll get little tiny bits of information that come around the block, so you can say, well, I can see you doing this, or that, but I can't see any more about it. And then it's like, oh, you're a horrible psychic. If I'm horrible, then how the hell did I know about that part of your life? It's
right. Especially when they want to talk to somebody specifically.
Right.
Like I said, it's like not like I have the direct dial in.
I know, no, that's extension number, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. You might get
maybe Uncle Bob doesn't want to talk, or doesn't have a message. Maybe he's doing absolutely fine and he just doesn't have anything to say.
He's not even on that side anymore. Depending on what your belief system is, maybe he just decided that wasn't for him, or he didn't complete something he needs to recycle and come back through. You don't know. The point is, you really don't know. And this is, I'm so glad that we're able to talk about it as passionately and as openly as we're talking about it, because this shows the real dilemma that we have when we really are who we say we are. Yeah. I don't profess to know everything. There's no fucking way in the world. I am not omnipresent. Hello. I have an ability to see through a window where I can read some shit that other people just can't, or they haven't tried hard enough to, or they just don't have, whatever the case may be. I didn't ask for this. I came from a family who just happened to be this way, and I popped out as one of them who are this way. I have 3 kids who are this way. 3 out of 6. I have 3 kids who are this way. So it's interesting when you are, don't shoot the messenger.
Exactly, Renee.
The messenger. I'm just here to translate. And if I can't, it's just like sticking somebody in the middle and saying, hey, translate this German for me, even though you speak English only, make it make sense. How do I do that? They don't understand it. It's difficult sometimes. It's really hard. It's really hard to get that information across. It's not, how can I put it? It's not on tap. It's not on call. I can't reach out for so-and-so's extension. I don't know if all of the family is going to show up. I don't even know if a person you don't even fucking like is going to show up. How about that?
Right.
It happens like it's going to happen. And you try as hard as you can to set that up in the minds of the people that you read for, so they don't have this grandiose set of expectations that just aren't realistic. This is not TV. This is not a Hollywood production. Shit is going to happen like it does. And you just have to kind of roll with that. And I just, like I said, I get really passionate about it. You already know I'm a potty mouth. It kind of just happens.
Well, we're the perfect ones to do it together with on this thing, because I am, and I have no, I can't control it sometimes. Like, I being on a network, like I have to, thank God I've got a great network, and we have a delay because, we're on FM broadcast. And so I just happen to vicariously throw out the F-bomb every once in a while. And then they're like, oh, Christina, like, good thing we got a delay. So, sometimes I just, like, if I know that I'm not going to be able to censor my mouth and put on the filter, I have to just say, okay, tonight can we do an R-rated show, because I have a feeling that I'm probably going to be throwing a lot of F-bombs, or so is my guest. And, but yeah, so, hey, if you don't like it, like, mute us on the delay with those words. But hey, this is real raw information.
Exactly. It kind of, when you're in this realm, let me see, people don't like the information given. They have to be honest with themselves. Exactly. And that, you deal with a lot of that. People are not honest with themselves about this. See, okay, at one point, it's funny, we're touching on so many different, the questions that come up make me think of so many different instances, like the question that came up right there. It reminded me, at one point in time, I owned my own line. I owned my own, which, anybody out there who's wondering how you can have your own line, you don't have to qualify for anything. You honestly, there's a thing called keen.com where you go and you can set up your own line. Well, because I'm a webmaster and things like that, I built my own site and background area for my clients to be able to access and be able to call when they wanted to. But then sometimes, if you're not careful, you leave your line on, you'll get calls from their network, right? So the calls from their network would come in, and we got those low grade, low barrel, super low energy calls about, well, I'm seeing this guy who has a wife, who has a family, who has a this and that. Am I going to marry him? Is that, and I mean, like, no disrespect to anybody in the situation, circumstance, or whatever, things happen, but don't call your psychic for that. You know the answer. You know the truth about it. It's just we get these questions where people don't want to hear the truth because it's inevitable. No, it's not going to leave his wife. No, he's not going to this or that. But you deal with a bunch of low barrel energy in those situations, and nobody wants to hear the truth about their situation. And if you should tell them the truth, oh, you're a horrible psychic. And then you Google yourself and you're reading all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look. Yeah.
What? That's not how it happened at all.
I have to Google myself once a month just to see what interesting things people say I'm doing, because according to everybody else, I've been on, the run, I'm a serial killer. The FBI is looking for me. I'm on the America's Most Wanted top wanted fugitives. Nobody can find me. I'm on the underground. I stole some haunted statues. I sold them on the black market for $300,000 each. And I'm just out and living off the grid. And I'm like, really, people, like, look, you're watching my live stream. You're on my page. Like, you're seeing me everywhere I go. Like, I am. If you can find me, you're going to tell me the FBI can't find me. Like,
that's
really,
like, I don't think they get so caught up in their passion and their desire to destroy you because they don't either A, like what you said, B, don't like the fact that you can see those things and they can't. Which is another weird thing. Like I said, you don't wish this on anybody. People have a strange way of, how do I say this without using ugly words? People have a really strange way of letting the green-eyed monster get them. Don't be jealous. Develop the things that you've got going on. It's the weirdest things. Like, you'll deal with people who got some abilities, but you can see where if they took the time to really to develop it, then they could really do something with it. And
I'm even happy to help them do that.
What's in it? It's in my head. I can't do anything with it. I can't crack this bitch open and piece part you any of it. It's not like, it's in my head. I'm sorry. There are people out there that I wish that I had there, but I learned.
But we have to be careful with that, though, too, because I notice that people are very jealous and very envious. Like, they'll say to me, "Oh my gosh, I'm a sensitive, but I so wish I had psychic abilities like you, and I wish I could see spirits." And I'm like, "Really?
Why would you wish them?
Why the hell do you want?" She's like, "Oh, it would be so cool." And I'm like, "Oh, but it's not so cool because you don't understand. It's an all the time thing." I said, "So imagine now, it might be cool to be able to see them, but think about when you're having sex with your husband or your partner, and you look over the shoulder and you've got a whole gallery of spirits, like you're making a porn for them, like a live porn, or you're taking a shower and you have like all these guests in there with you, and it's not like you can just turn it off and say, 'Excuse me, I need some private time, go away.' No, there is no private time for us. There is no shutting it down." People don't understand that, and I'm just like, man, when people say that, I was like, be careful what you ask for, because the thing is, because like I said, I can definitely teach you how to open up and be able to connect and have those abilities. But again, once they're open and they're out, there is no shutting them back down. So
that's
might be happy with what you have.
Right. Be happy with, you do not ask for the things that you really don't understand. There's nothing cool about this. I'll put it this way. I'm a mommy. I just had a baby not too long ago. So Maximus is in my bed. And now, mind you, I have 6 kids. I've been a mom since I was 17. So
you got a whole little tribe. I love it. I got 4.
I have a football team. No, but so, I mean, I've had to deal with it throughout raising my kids. Like I said, I have 3 of them who are this way. And so what happens when you roll over and you see your baby and there's something standing over, or someone standing over your baby? You really want that? Ignorance is bliss in that case. I don't want to see that. I don't want to know that. I don't want to hear. This is my thing. Everywhere we've ever lived, I've always thought the people on the sides of us have always thought, and even in my house, I thought people have always thought the woman in that house is crazy, because I always hear her at any given time saying, "No, not now. No, not right now. I don't want to see this shit. Not now." I do it all day fucking long I do it, because I don't want it. There's things don't want to be privy to that. Hey, I got a website to build. Don't have time to work out. No, I can't. It is what it is. And like you said, you cannot shut it off. It is a pressure. It's how do I put this? It's like it's a funnel. Everything is coming all at you at once, all the time. You don't get to say, no, I don't want, or no, I'm not going to. You don't get a choice. You don't get a choice. And I just don't think that part gets understood. That bothers me the most. You think that people, it's like, the topic, oh gosh, I'm really going to set it off now with this one, but it's like the topic where people say, oh, I'm just going to choose to be gay. Well, some people don't just choose that. Some people come here this way. Right. And it is what it is. I didn't choose this shit. This is what it is. It happened when I was 4 years old. I was in my grandmother's bed. My grandmother got up. She went to the bathroom. I rolled over. I started looking at the window. In came this woman in a nurse's uniform, but she wasn't wearing it was 1981, because I was 4 years old. It wasn't a traditional nurse's outfit or nurse's uniform from the 80s. This was something from like the 30s. And so I'm sitting here looking at this like, who is this woman? And she just trekked all the way through, turned around, looked at me, waved hi, and then continued, and then nothing.
Right.
I'm 4 and I got the covers like this. Like, what the hell was that? My grandmother comes back in, and I do not know why, Christina, for the life of me, I cannot explain to you why my 4-year-old mind decided to ask her this question. Grandma, I know you have a bunch of sisters. Were any of your sisters nurses? Yeah, my sister Katie was a nurse, but she passed away way before you were born. Okay. Well, does she look like this? Because this nurse, she had red, like I said, my family is really mixed. So there's no way that this could have been. So I asked her, I said, okay, well, the nurse, she had red hair and she had freckles. Yeah, Katie had red hair and freckles. She was really, really light mountain. She had like alabaster skin, really, really super fair. Yeah, Katie looked like that. She had blue eyes, freckles, and red hair. She was a nurse. She was a nurse circa right around, when your grandfather and I first married, 35, 1940. What? Okay, cool. At least I know now that I'm not crazy. And I saw what I thought I saw. That was all I cared about. I just wanted to be sure that I saw what the hell I thought I saw. And then come to find out that house it was really spirited. That house was awesome to grow up in. But the point is, you don't get to control it. You don't get to own it. It is not about you. It is not about making fame for yourself. It is about being able to step back, allow messages to come through, be able to serve the person on the other side of the reading, and hopefully you give them some sort of peace. You are able to translate some message that comes from the other side or something that gets shown to you where you're able to give them some peace. That is the whole mission. Be able to help them understand something or give them some peace.
Absolutely.
Your job gets done and you walk away quietly. It's not about you. And this is what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing keywords now around people's names. Master psychic. I am a super spiritual medium, eclectic empath. It's like all these names and things. Just say
all these
titles, right, to make you look more official. Listen, I've been reading. I'm 42 years old. I've been reading and seeing since I was 4 that I can tell you about since I was 4. Yeah, I have some degrees. Yeah, I went to school to study some things. Yeah, I sure did. But that doesn't matter to you. It's not going to do any good to you. Yeah, that what I studied in that book is not going to click on a psychic switch. It's not going to happen. So everything that I have done to get me here to be able to understand what I do, this doesn't matter to you. It's not. I don't know. I'm worrying because I'm seeing it become flavor of the month, and people are picking up and becoming reckless with it, and it isn't fair. It isn't fair. Yeah, and then people like us are going to have to play cleanup when people, and yeah, it's truly special.
Well, when we notice, like, again, a lot of people, once we started seeing that, again, say 10 years, 15 years ago, psychics were definitely not really welcomed or accepted in the paranormal field. You were automatically discounted if you claimed you had a psychic on your team. Me, of course, you tell me something like that, I leave and I create my own group that's comprised of people who have all kinds of psychic abilities. Again, I'm the rebel. So you tell me that I can't do something, I'm going to do it 10 times bigger just to make a point. So, I did it. But again, I struggled so much with people, questioning, and again, once an idea in a field, it's like a virus. If they say, oh, psychics are bad, if you have them in a paranormal group, then that kind of starts to spread throughout the community. And so nobody wants to have a psychic on their team because they don't want to be discounted. They don't want to be looked down upon. So
Right.
I was like, man, screw you guys. Like, I'm not doing it for what you guys think about me. I'm doing it to help people. So I don't give a damn about that. I never cared about television. I never cared. Like, I found out very, very early on, like, for all the people who get into the paranormal because it's so popular and they think they're going to make any money, they're going to make money in it. Good luck. Not going to happen. I don't care how good you are. And that's, yeah, it's not even what it's about. But as soon as the television came out and they started utilizing psychics to back up, the stuff. And I mean, again, anybody who's a psychic, we know that we fit in very well, with paranormal groups like that. We can, the information we get along with everything else that they research and they're able to collect as evidence sometimes makes a good story. It's like a jigsaw puzzle and you can all connect. Right. So when they came out, like, I literally, this was what drive me crazy, was like, I was literally seeing people, it was like overnight. I just saw like thousands of people on Facebook changing their names on their thing, and they was like, Lisa Jones, and now it's psychic medium Lisa Jones.
I know. Oh my God, my Facebook used to say that. Let me tell you, I'm so grateful that I am a webmaster, because my Facebook used to read that where it would say / your name. Mine used to say / spiritual medium Erika Wilmore. This was the year 2011, though. This was a long time ago. Long time ago. And my husband had to coax me into being to type that, because I was like, no, next time I'm not gonna do it. No, baby, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do it. Come on, if anybody can, you need to do it. You have to give validity to the field. You need to be out there. You need to. Okay, so fine. I put the name up there, psychic or spiritual medium, because I was afraid of the word psychic. I wouldn't use the word. Every time I use it now, I still have to take a deep breath, and it's just
because it has such a bad reputation.
It's a horrible reputation.
For us that have psychic abilities, again, there was no internet, there was nobody, like, at least you had a supportive family. I mean, I grew up in a Catholic background, and everybody around me was like, stop. Every time I talked about it, they wanted to rush me to the priest to go to confession, and and like, really, like,
magic, and use the most paranormal everything. Catholics are like, if you're going to be a psychic, you might as well come from the Catholic Church. If you're going to be, I went to school in the Catholic school system for 11 years. I've seen
get this.
More
be a psychic, be Catholic, also be left-handed, and be very opinionated, and ask all kinds of questions. Like, you are the demon-possessed child that we need to do an exorcism on. Like, shut up and stop talking. Like, that's what I got. I'm just like, really? So we didn't have a lot of guidance, I would say, of what we are. So again, us growing up, we, quote unquote, psychics were Miss Cleo, Diane Warwick, the 800 psychic numbers, fortune tellers. Everybody was lumped under the umbrella of a psychic medium. And again, because so many people back then were scamming people utilizing this kind of information, it became very, very negative. So again, like, I never was with titles, and like, when I've had my near experience, I decided to join a paranormal group because I felt like, okay, if I've got to like be around people, that's probably going to be the people who aren't going to be afraid of me. So I got into the paranormal, but the guy that I was on the group for, like, when things would happen, I would tell him what I got. He's like, oh my gosh, you're a psychic medium. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm no damn psychic. Are you kidding? I don't scam people. Like, go away. I'm going to throw some holy water on him or something. Like, get away from me. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, you are a psychic. And I'm like, I'm not no damn psychic. Stop telling me that. And so
I would tell him the same thing.
Yeah, and so again, for many of us who, again, have grown up with this, we have a lot of the similar stories because of the similar experiences we've had to grow up with. And again, being a psychic was anything that was really accepted by our friends, by society, by the outside world, so it was something that we kind of just had to deal with by ourselves.
Who says that? I want to be want to be a medium and talk to dead people for a living at that. For a living. Come on, man. It's just, nobody says that. Like I said, that's why I'm a marketer. Okay. Yes, I do. Yeah.
But I think that like with the internet, I think that a lot of people decided like, okay, and now again, I want to say pretty much everybody, out there is a sensitive. We all have psychic abilities. Now, to what degree that they are, it completely depends on how open you are, what abilities are activated, how much you kind of work on them to grow them, all of these different things. And so when somebody like is a sensitive, and like people who are listening to my live stream right now are going to know exactly who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name any names like I normally do because I'm going to be nice today. But so I had somebody on my team, and I met her because I was coming on to consult on another case that supposedly had demonic, activity. And I went in, and it was affecting a young teenage girl. And so she had a lot of issues, but she became very, very connected with me immediately. And so her great grandparents and her grandparents asked me if I would possibly mentor her. And so after I finished the case, I said, yeah. At the time, I was mentoring children and teen psychics and their families. So I said, okay, I'll take her on. And we brought her on. And the grandmother, which was her guardian, was a sensitive for sure. Like, I mean, she did have active abilities where she could sense things. She couldn't see anything. She didn't hear anything, nothing like that, or she could visually see anything, but she could sense stuff and the energy. So now I mentored this girl for a few years, and as the grandmother spent more time around me, she was very interested in what I did. So she's like, oh, I would so love to, do this as well. And we had a team, and we didn't really bring in other people. So she just kind of stuck around. And eventually the teenager, she was just she wasn't focused. She was more wanting to like do Ouija boards and like just do bad things. So I was like, okay, until you're ready to take this serious, we're no longer going to work together. I think you need to grow up a little bit. You're not taking this serious. Well, the grandmother decided, she was really serious about this and she wanted to join the team. So against my better judgment, I decided, okay, I'm going to bring this person on. I brought the team, and so she was with me for many years. She really kind of ended up being like my right-hand person. Like, she was helping with the cases so that I didn't have to be a case manager and have any information prior to the thing, all these different things. But as time went on, things started to change because I was doing a lot of conferences. I was lecturing all over the U.S. I was doing the radio shows, and I don't want to say it was maybe jealousy, more so probably maybe the envy of the attention that I was getting. And so she was starting to make friends and had all the same people who followed me and my clients and all this stuff and becoming friends. So as you know, I have terminal illness. So I got really sick and I was in the hospital. And before I went into the hospital, I started noticing that she was like changing a lot. Like, she was dressing like me. She was braiding her hair like me. She even she was a blonde and she talked about going brunette. And it was really starting to kind of freak me out a little bit, right? And people were telling me, oh, that's like single white female. And I was like, stop already. Like, this is not good, right? So don't put those kind of, things in my mind, ideas in my mind. So I go into the hospital and I come out. And so she was kind of running the group that we had at the time. And I get out of the hospital and we decide that we're going to go to lunch. And so we're driving and she gets a phone call and she takes the phone call and she's like, oh, hi, so-and-so. And I recognize the name. Now, it's one of my clients that I do psychic readings for a very long time. And so she's talking, but, she's kind of talking in code a little bit. But the thing is I could hear her phone volume was up so high, like I could ear hustle and hear the whole damn conversation. So I'm just driving as if I don't hear anything. And all of a sudden the lady's like, oh, I need to talk to you. I've got a problem. And she's like, why? What happened? And she's like, well, I followed the advice that you gave me, and it turned out really bad, and blah, blah. And so I'm listening to this conversation. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I did the voodoo spell that you told me. And instead of the guy not be my boyfriend not being able to have sex with the girl that he's cheating on me with. Instead, now he's peeing blood. And
Low
she said,
level, low grade stuff
right,
that we wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Come on,
no.
man. That's
And I'm
not
like,
the meaning right there. That's not
as
a
soon as
that's
I heard,
a voodoo spell.
right, as soon
Really?
as I heard that, as soon as I heard voodoo, so I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do you,
Please,
first of all, what do
first
you
of
know
all,
about
please
voodoo? Second of all,
respect
what does
voodoo.
that have to
Please
do with
respect
this?
voodoo and voodoo. It's not what people think it is. It is not it not you, but I'm saying to
Girl,
the world, please
no,
respect.
yes,
It is a religion. It is a
yes,
beautiful religion, just like any other. It is not, well, I'm gonna go get a dog and start to poke it, and I'm gonna just get him because he does. There is a spell that is done in Latin culture, call it Santísima Muerte,
right,
basically, and it's basically, it's the same thing. It's when the lover who's it's the
right.
black candle with the, and I mean, there any ethical.
But mind you,
Any
though, this
ethical.
lady had no idea of the voodoo, hoodoo, anything culture. She didn't really even
Let
know
me
enough
Google
about
a
the
voodoo
psychic,
spell,
right?
girl.
But so I'm
What are
listening
you
to her, and so like I hear the whole voodoo thing, and like now I'm like, what the hell? And so I keep listening, and so she says, "Well, did you try the love spell as well?" And she's like, "Yes, but it's not working. I don't know what to do." And she's like, so I look at her like with this crazy look, right? So now I think she knows that I'm onto her. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to call you back in a while. I'm on my way to lunch. I literally, girl, she got the phone, and I pulled into a parking lot, and I just stopped the car, and I'm like, we need to talk. First
Get
of all,
out.
why are you talking to my client? Like, I didn't really understand that. And she's like, well, but you were sick in the hospital. She had an issue, and her boyfriend, she was worried he was cheating on her, and she found some information that pointed to that. So she wanted to know, like, how to keep him from doing that. So I looked up a voodoo spell, and I gave it to her, and she's like, and I'm like looking at her crazy, and I'm like, what? And she's like, well, hold on. I also I looked up a love spell too to counteract it and balance it out. And I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't even believe that I was hearing this crap, right? And I'm like,
The first
first of
thing
all,
you don't need a psychic, you need a counselor. You need the
you need
relationship counselor.
something. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, you can't be like doing this. First of all, you absolutely cannot be like taking my clients and doing readings on them, because it's going to reflect back on me, because you're part of my group. Oh my God, it was just like the backlash. I was thinking about all of this. I was just like, oh my God, this lady's going to go out and just bash her all over internet, and it's going to all come back on my shoulders as usual. So I was upset. So I brought my co-founder together. We tried to have talk about why it was so important not to be doing readings for people when you don't know what the hell you're doing. And we
Right.
kept saying, you're a sensitive, you're not a psychic medium. Like, there's a difference, and the information you get is different.
I'm
And
so glad you said that. I don't mean to cut you off, but
no,
I'm trying to remember that you said that because, like you said, psychic medium versus sensitive. Here's the thing: what people don't understand, all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums.
there you
We are
go.
not all the
Perfect.
same. People need to understand that. Just because you go see a psychic does not mean you're automatically seeing a medium. We are not this. We don't have the same set of abilities. We work on these things. Literally, we see where there's a little bit of information leading to that we may have this ability. So we need to expand it. We need to grow it. We need to learn more. We need to grow it, basically. Not all of us choose to grow in the same way. You don't Not everybody that, like I said, not everybody who is a psychic is a medium. Just remember that, you know?
Yeah, Eddie, I'm sure you do. Like I said, a lot of people who follow me, they know this, and they know who it is, so we don't have to go that far with the names. But so yeah, so she, ended up, we called her out, and then the next thing she's like, okay. So we gave this big old long speech of, and we even told her, like, look, if you want to do readings, like, myself and my co-founder are both psychics, like, we will mentor you. We will help you to kind of hone in on your gift and, see if you're able to do this. Because again, not everybody can get messages. It just doesn't work like that. It's not like you can just go in and do chakra meditation and unlock your third eye and boom, now you can see things. It
Now I
doesn't
can
work
see
like that.
it.
But people think so, people think that. So I'm like, well, we can work with you, but it'll take a while, and she's like, well, how long does it take? Well, it takes a long time depending on who the person is. So you just have to go. Like, I've been doing this for 50 years. So it takes a while, right? So she wasn't happy with that. So the next thing I know, somebody on Facebook sends me a message, and they said, oh my gosh, did you know that this person, oh, I almost said her name, you know that this person is doing psychic readings and charging for them? And I'm like, what? So I go and they send me a link and I go to this website, and she had met this other online psychic and became friends with her, and they said, oh, well, let's make some money. I'll make a website and we'll charge for readings. So I go to click on her bio, and to my surprise, it's my
No.
bio word for word.
Oh no! Oh, I've had that. I have had them. It's like,
My whole story.
that's not cool. It's not cute. The world only needs one of me. Trust me. My daughter.
Oh, but yes. Oh my gosh.
Enough
That's
of
the
us.
truth.
Enough of my kind.
I so agree.
Same thing. I've had this.
So yeah, so they ended up, she used the bio, so we confronted her again. So then she decided that, okay, she was going to quit the group, which was completely okay, because we were going to kick her off the group. Because again, what people don't understand is when I have a group, what anybody does separately when they're part of my group, especially when it comes to, readings and all that, it falls back on me, and it gives me a bad black eye name. So I'm just like, no, like, enough people have crap to say about me. I don't need other people adding on to my shoulders. So she leaves, but before she leaves, she goes in and tells, the 3,000 people in my group that she's starting a new chapter of our group. And so it's still going to be PPRS. It's just going to be in another town.
No.
Of course, everybody, people follow me, and they love the group and everything. So of course they're like, oh my gosh, it's another chapter. Oh, we got to show support. Add. Oh, yes, we'll join. We like your page. And she was telling everybody she was a sister chapter to ours. So, and literally went and created another group using my group name.
You want to say, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
And I'm just looking like, are you kidding me? Oh, and then to take it one step farther, she decided that she was going to offer mentoring to children's psychics like I did. And her idea of mentoring them was to take them out on investigations.
Children,
young kids.
Okay, I'm about to leave the building. You didn't say
girl,
enough.
I was about to leave my town and go and choke a bit. I was just like, really?
No,
I'm serious.
I have 3 children. I have 3 children who 3 that I can tell who have tapped their abilities since they were young. 3 of them. And my 11-year-old, who, I don't know why I'm pointing this way. He's not upstairs in his room. He's at school right now.
Yes, literally took over.
My 11-year-old, he's just, how can I put it? I see him struggling with it. He doesn't even talk about it. He doesn't like to talk about it. But I can see him when he sees something or when he sees someone. Right. I can see it. His whole demeanor changes. His body changes. Body language changes. He won't go into certain places of the house. He won't, and it's just, you can tell and you can see these things. Why would I pick up my 11-year-old and I find myself always blocking and guarding from my kids. Like I took my 6-year-old, he's the other one who's that way, the 6-year-old who has autism. He's that way. So we were going out to get in the car, and I could tell he had looked up, and he was like, he was just walking along with his little bear, and he was walking along in the car, and it's dark outside, snowy outside, Idaho, a bunch of trees everywhere. So we're walking to the car, and he all of a sudden froze and stopped and looked in this direction. And I'm like, what's wrong, baby? I turned around, I looked, I saw exactly what he saw. I said, it's okay, baby. I started to sing to my child. I walked my child around, put my child into the car, turned his head this way so he would stop looking, like any mother would do. So he would stop looking, and my husband is like, well, what's wrong? I said, no, it's just okay. It's just stuff. It's whatever. You know how you do it. Whatever. It's just stuff. So I'm trying to move along to the next place with my kid here. I would never take any of my children why would you do that? I grew up in a house that was lit. Okay. I wouldn't even imagine. I can remember telling my husband when we had first met, we had first started dating. My husband was like 19, 20 years old. And he was coming over my house for the first time. Now, my grandfather had passed in the house. My grandmother had passed in the house, but the house was built in the 20s. And there had been a murder in the house. The house, like I said, the house was lit. The previous owners passed in the house. The house was lit. It was real spirited. And I mean it that's a double entendre. It was really spirited. But I grew up like that, and it was tough. It was hard. It was frightening. It was terrible. The dreams that you would get, these horrible dreams. It was just it was an awful experience in the beginning. It was hard. Even having people who were handling you or people who were helping you to understand your abilities, it was still really, really hard. It was just hard.
Right.
And so I couldn't even imagine taking my two boys to a spot that's no. How about no? The answer is an absolute
No,
hard
and for
no.
anybody, any psychic that actually truly mentors, like that's the whole thing. I never let, my biggest thing is that young children do not need to be investigated. I mean, young psychic children are trying to deal with their abilities. Now, anybody, again, who has grown up with this knows how confusing, how scary, just so many different emotions that can come through because you see things that everybody else isn't. And,
Exactly.
so the last thing you want to do is go and take them to somewhere that's got a bunch of activity and scare the hell out of them.
That you can't and on top of it, it's dangerous for them because see, like I know you prepare to go into
right.
an investigation. You prepare for these things because see, here's the reality is you don't get, sometimes things will come with you. If you don't understand, sometimes things will come with you. And I saw something happen in the paranormal I don't want to say industry. That's I hate that word, but
paranormal field.
There you go. In the paranormal field. Oh, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, and I don't even want to speak on it because I really shouldn't speak on it, but I'm going to. And from this,
but we're doing a show with me, so speak on it, girl. Get it, put it out there.
Okay, like people don't get it. Like, look, even the most seasoned one of us can have a bad day and bring 100%. Home shit that you don't want to bring home. Now, I saw a suicide murder. Times. Yes, exactly. And I not knowing in the very beginning, young girl, not knowing, just doing things to help a friend out, going over to her mother's house. It turns out it was a whole slew of shit happening there. Poltergeist activity connected to the mother, all kind of yeah. So I'm in that situation, bringing things home, not knowing how to protect myself, not knowing how to shield and protect myself in this situation. How are you going to ask a 6-year-old who's autistic to do that? Really? I'm a 42-year-old who is somewhat autistic. I can't do that. There's no way. Can't do it.
And we know it's amped up even more with autistic children. With their abilities.
People don't understand. See, listen, like, okay, I came out, my life is full of closets, okay? So I came out like a couple months back and I wrote a really long post about it because I use my Facebook like a diary. My personal Facebook is, I don't market on that. I use it like a diary. I talk about my life. It is my personal Facebook. It's not for business. It's my personal one. So I talk about my life. And everybody knows I talk about life on planet Mars. My son Mars. Mars, right here. My son Mars, right there. My baby Mars is my son who has autism. He's on the spectrum, sensory processing disorder. Well, we tried to figure out where it was coming from, and mom is like, my child, there's something called adult repetitive behavior, and it is linked to autism and being on the spectrum, and I am autistic on the spectrum. Big deal. It doesn't mean you're I'm just as in here as anybody else. It doesn't mean that. It's socially, I've got some issues when it comes to that. But anyway, anyway, the point is if you're psychic or in that way, you got some social issues anyway. So it's just going to happen. But people who are on the spectrum, we are gifted with our brains are wired differently. So you receive information differently. You are able to see, how can I put it? You're privy to things that other people are not. Just because of the way your brain is wired, you are able to do other things. So my son, like I said, the autistic one, I couldn't even imagine. Come on, dude, really? I know what it was like growing up in my house, and there were people who were looking out for me. Imagine what that's like. I'm glad you said that because it speaks to what this whole live was truly about. The entire live was truly about how to tell who is real and who is not because of what they can do, the ripple of what they do, the ripple of their action, the ripple effect is what I'm trying to say of their actions. You can't bring that back. You can't rein that back in. This is a service. I like to call it that. This is a service where you have to go above and beyond protecting the person on the other side. You really got to be really, at least for me, you have to go above and beyond to protect the person on the other side. When people come to, in society, people who are psychic mediums, the service that we provide, it's not mainstream and readily accepted anyways. So for a person to get to a point where they're ready to come see one of us, they've got to be going through some things. And when you see that, you want to, how do I put this? You want to do no harm. You want to do absolutely no harm. And when you have people out there parading to know how to do things, you get people sending people voodoo spells where they can unlock all kind of things that, yeah, it's just not a good deal. I feel really bad for the people who have been victims of false readers.
Yeah, and there's a lot. There's a lot. I'm sure that you've got a lot too that come to me that have said, oh, I've been to many other psychics, and they haven't been able to be this accurate. And again, I get shocked sometimes of the money that people shell out because they feel like if they pay more money, the more it costs, the better of a reading it is, or the more experience, which is bullshit. Like whether you spend $40 or $4,000 for a reading, the reading is the reading,
Exactly.
And if with a true psychic, it's not about the money. It's about helping people.
It's the mission.
And so for me, I mean, shoot, up until probably 3 years ago, from, a young adult all the way up until then, every reading I ever did was free. Yes, completely free. Because again, there was this stigma that if you were a psychic and you charged, especially in the paranormal, that you were fake, because people who had a gift, it was, and I hate this, somebody's got to be mad at me for saying this, but I had all these people that would say, oh, it's a gift that was given to you by God, and you're not supposed to charge for it, and you're not supposed to get personal gain. And so it was drilled into my brain. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't want to do anything against the paranormal and their turn on me, so no, I won't charge and I'll help everybody. Oh my God, that was the worst thing I could have ever done in my life.
It's the worst thing. Here's the thing. To just give it away. To just give away readings. It doesn't help on either side, because here's the reality. When they're on the other side and they have nothing invested, absolutely nothing invested, and this is not just one of those situations where in passing you do a favor or you do a solid to someone or you stack good karma. This is not one of those moments where you're doing that. These are people who want full on access to all of your gifts. Like if they could take their fingers and just put it into your head and suck out the information, they would. Like they come with no Vaseline. These people don't care how they get it from you. They don't care that the fact that, listen, you don't understand. I am almost destroyed after I do a medium session. That energy there that I've expended, I got to go replenish that. It's not just on tap where it's just all right. No, my process looks like this. After I'm done with a mediumship reading, in order to purge and to get it all out of me, I go into a state where I cry for like about an hour, and it's not like no, it's ugly ass tears. It's ugly cry. Yeah. I'm not crying. I'm expressing the emotion, and I'm purging that person's emotion, that energy out of me. And so, do you really you want that? You really want that?
People do want that, though. That's the thing. People want everything for free, and the crazy part about it, I had a lady who was mentoring me, way back, and she used to tell me, she charged, and she used to say, you have a true gift, Christina, and you need to charge. Don't give it away for free like that. And I kept saying, no, you don't.
They don't respect. They won't do what you say. They won't do
the thing is she wasn't in the paranormal, so I kept saying, no, you don't understand. Like, in the paranormal, you can't do that. So I have to help all these people. And this is what I was, told I need to do, was help people. And it's not supposed they always tell me it's not supposed to be for self-gain and personal gain and all this stuff. So I was really stuck on that. She said, you know what? You are going to regret that. But she's like, all I can do is warn you. And eventually you're going to see it. And eventually you're going to get tired of people taking advantage of you, and you're going to see things differently. And I kept saying, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a psychic, but you got it wrong on this one, because I'm going to do this. I will tell you now, mind you, like when I do readings now, they're usually 30 minutes to maybe an hour long at the most. I try not to go too far over there because of my health. And again, people don't understand that people who do psychic readings who have, health issues, it is a very dangerous thing for them. Very, very.
Right. Right. You and I
So,
both know that. That was how we
yes.
even connected because of the same disease.
Absolutely. So
Right.
we're kind of
Yeah.
like, so I was doing it. But when I was doing free readings, like I literally, my phone would ring 24 hours a day. It would wake me up at 3 in the morning from a dead sleep, and somebody in, South Africa or, Argentina or somewhere, the UK, they've got something, and everything to them is, an ASAP emergency
Oh
situation.
yeah.
So I get myself up and do it. And like literally, some of the times these readings would go on for hours and hours. And then they called me back the next day. And then I had people that literally checked in with me every single day, like, oh, should I do this today? Or was it a good thing? And I'm like, look, this is not what I'm about. This is not what it's about. And so my mentor, she said, so are you ready? Are you ready to listen to me? And I'm like, okay, I'm a rebel. I don't care. At this point, if everybody hates me for this, like, I got to do something because, like, literally, I would do a reading, and 2 days later, I would be sick, and I'd be in the hospital, and I'd be in the hospital for a week, and it just was too much. And she said, You have to understand, Christina, it has nothing to do with the money. Nothing to do with the money. She says it has to do with the exchange.
The law of even exchange. Yeah,
Yes.
alchemy.
And
Yeah.
if you're always giving and people are taking and there's nothing in return, this is what you get. And so it never made a lot of sense. And then it was like the light went off and I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, now I get it. So
Mhm.
even today, now I do charge for my readings. Now, anything that, if I do a reading for a client who's like a paranormal client, that, of ours or something I'm consulting on, I never charge for that. But if
Right.
somebody comes to me and just wants just a psychic reading, I do. But the thing is, my prices are very inexpensive, and I actually still probably give away more free readings than anything else. But it's
Mhm.
because I know their financial issues, or I can sense that it's something they really need the information about, and I
I had to
do
stop
it.
caring about that too. I had to stop caring about that too. Let me tell you why. I had look. You know that I went through some really rough times for 6 years of dealing with that kidney. My kidney disease. I was in the hospital consistently. I tried as hard as I could to just maintain life. Do you think that people cared during that time? They didn't give a damn. People were calling me to do readings when I was in the hospital, kidneys failing. You don't understand. People can be people. How can I put it? Yeah, intrusive is one thing. People can see. It's interesting. It's like you kind of want to take those people and line them up with the fake psychics so that they would their energy is
Now,
balanced. Just go that way because they will use you until there is absolutely nothing left. And it's funny because in the
and not
beginning,
care
no, and not care. They don't give a damn. They don't give a
until
damn when
you
you
until you say that you can't give them a free
doing
reading.
it, and then they will cuss
Oh
you
yeah, they will do
to
everything they
bits.
can.
You are the worst at that point, and it's forget the messages, and it's about shoot the messenger at that point. They get
Right.
angry and frustrated because you won't give it to them. Well, here's the deal. Here's the reality of it. I believe in even exchanges every 2 years is when a person has nothing invested, nothing. They don't give a damn. They don't care how they treat it. They don't care. But if a person is invested in getting the information that they need, they will be there and they will meet you
Right.
where you need them to be and where they need you give them the information you give them. They take that information. They bought and paid for this time. Okay?
Yes,
They
the
take the
information is
information
valuable to them.
right, it becomes valuable at that point because they have paid for it. They
Right.
will take that information that spirit has given to them and they will implement it into their lives. And those are the ones that don't call you back in 30 days talking about I need
Right.
another reading. I won't read for you in
And
30
that's
days. Sweetie,
great.
you don't
Yeah, that's what we
I won't
want.
do it. I won't read for you in 30 days. I want you to clearly be able to see these things after you come to me. Please don't do that. It's like, okay, like I said, there's sometimes I'll have a reading and I mean, it's few and far between at this point in my life, but when I was younger, it would happen where you can you get bits of information like it's coming around a wall and it's just really fragmented information and you don't feel like you have given everything you can give in this reading. And so I will say, okay, you know what? I just really couldn't connect the right way. And I'll try it through different mediums. Like I'll start with chat. And if I can't connect with you in chat, then I will call you. If
Right.
I can't connect with you in call, I don't do video because I don't want to see you. Because if I see you, you're giving me things. I don't want to see your house. I don't want to see any of that. But I will take a call. I'll level up to another medium if I can't get you that way. And then still, if I'm still having fragmented information and I still can't get it when I'm talking to you, the energy still doesn't connect, then look, the next one is on me, sweetie. I'm sorry.
Right.
Today
Right.
wasn't right. And please don't. But I've had people insist to pay for the next one. But it's like, look, no, I understand what happened here today. I'm not tripping. I see what happened here today. I got
And even
fragmented.
if we're off on a day, maybe we're
Right.
completely stressed out or we're sick or not feeling really up to, 100%, that can
I have
affect
a
it as
husband and
well.
kids here. Yeah, that, like you said, like it could have been a day where it just, whatever the case may be. The point is, if it goes that way, I'm not stupid. I see it. And I'm going to say to you, hey, this was difficult. It was hard. My next, whatever, we can read again. Yeah, I know it's hard to charge, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. You cannot give to anyone with an empty cup. And when
Right.
you are giving it away for free all the time, your cup becomes more and more depleted. There's nothing left to give. There's nothing left to
There's
give.
no value to it.
Right. In the universe, it doesn't work like that. Everything, even exchange. And if you are giving all of everything, you've got all of your essence, you are trying as hard as you can to interpret. Hell, even in language interpreters charge people, the people who are interpreters charge money to translate the language from this person to the next. Well, what is wrong with being in the middle and being able to eat, being able to pay your bills, being able to not worry about those things when you're trying to do a reading? Because when you don't charge and you're not earning, you're worrying about life. You're worrying about all those other things. So you're going to take those worries on, plus worry for the other people. Plus, what are you doing? You got to worry about self at some point. You got to maintain self-care, because if you don't maintain self-care, you are useless to everyone. You are not how can you know what it's like when we're
Very true.
completely
Very
out,
true.
you're in the hospital and you have nothing left to give.
And Dulcina, just to give you a little bit of advice, because again, as I said, I went through that same kind of turmoil on, do you charge, do you not charge, do you feel that your abilities are well enough to actually give a reading and charge, different things like that. But what I started out, because I kind of transitioned into actually putting a set price. And so when I first started doing them, I would say that I do charge for them. And then when somebody would contact me privately, they'd say, how much is it? And I would say, it's on a donation
Yeah, see,
basis.
I
And
knew it.
whatever you feel it was worth, then that's what you give me. If it wasn't worth, anything, then I guess we'll do it for free. And next time, hopefully it'll be better. But I've never had that happen. But, again, that opens the door so that a person doesn't feel obligated, that if they don't have a lot of money, they can still get a good reading and be able to donate something. Again, it's not
Right.
the amount. And it's, people are like, oh yeah, well, I've been, giving readings now for 3 years, so I should be charging $250, a reading. No, bullshit. Like bullshit. Really? I mean, is that what it's about now? I mean, for me, that's what it's not about. And again, I think that a lot of people doing this just because, again, either they're well known, I want to say Facebook famous or paranormal famous, a paraceleb or whatever, that, okay, now that means that they're more valuable than anybody else. So, and it just, again, this whole field and everything just really, I know that, people with psychic abilities fit in well and can do a lot of good and help in the paranormal field. But I'll tell you, it is a crazy ride to have to be in there, because you never know if people are going to love you or attack you, and it can change in one single quote or post. At least for me. Now let's get to a few of the signs that people should look for in that a psychic might not be the real deal. And we kind of touched on the first one at the beginning, because I have a list of them, but they ask a lot of questions. So again, people, if you're getting somebody that wants a lot of your personal information, they want to talk to you in depth before you have the reading, stuff like that, be worried, be concerned. Now, again, if you're just looking for very specific answers to certain questions, like when I do the mini readings for like a 3-question or 5-question, again, keep in mind that that's a little bit different. We are focusing only on the questions that are being, put towards. So don't expect that, okay, you're going to ask, how is this person, or is this going to happen, or something like that, and then think that, on top of it, now you can just go and plug into, Grandma John, Joanna, or something like that. It's not going to work like that. So again, you want to make sure that you get a psychic who is not asking a whole lot of questions. And believe me, there are plenty out there. I've been on a quest, and this is probably going to ruin it for me now, but for years, I have been going to people and that I know or claim to be psychics. And I want them to give me a reading. Look, I think it's turned around as fair play, because every time somebody learns that I'm a psychic out of the blue, they get that little eyebrow that goes up, and then they're like, oh, so you're a psychic, huh? So tell me something about myself. Like, really, like, come on. Like, so, okay. So it's, you gotta. So I would go to all these people that I knew. I'm like, if you're going to ask me for a reading and I'm going to prove myself to you, like, I think it's only fair that you give me some information too. Now, I know that I am very, very hard to read. I always have been. In my whole life, I've only come across a handful of people that have been able to read me. I mean, people can read me, but it's very generalized stuff. So it's nothing that would convince me of anything. Like, oh, I see, a woman, and it seems like maybe she's your grandmother. Like, okay, really? Like, come on. Like, how many people at 50 years old don't have a fucking grandmother that has died, right? So I'm like, okay, well, explain what they look like. Oh, they got little gray hair. Like, so it's just like, stop. But I've had a handful of people that can, but truly, and I do this to a lot of people, and not to try to prove that they're fakes or anything, but I really want to see how accurate and how strong their abilities are, so that I know that what I'm getting is legit. But again, being another psychic, I can pick up on a lot of bullshit and right away. So one of the things I don't do, and I don't know about you, but I do not do readings for my close friends. I have lost more friends and family
doing readings
over doing that.
Yeah, I understand. Now, I've had it work on both sides. Some of like, okay, let me explain. I've had friends where we've gone long periods of time not seeing one another, and then we reconnected, and they realize that I'm out of the closet now, and then they want readings, and that's fine. It's totally fine with me. I will do a reading for them, but I am so tough about it now. Whenever I start a reading, I explain. I even have, it got to the point, Christina, where I have documents that my clients sign before we go into a reading, because I explain what you will get, what you won't get, what to expect, and you will sign my contract before the reading happens. That's just kind of is where I'm at this point. It is where I've gotten to at this point. So it's just I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
I guess it depends for me on the information they want. Because like, I have a lot of messy friends. I'm not even gonna lie. And so
I'm lucky in that regard, because, well, I can't say I'm lucky in that regard. I'll be honest about it. The reason why I don't have a lot of messy friends is because I am very blunt, and where I fall on the spectrum makes me feel I just express what I think. And
yes, you and I are very, very much like that, especially when it's your friend, because like my friends will say like, okay, I think that like my husband or my boyfriend is cheating on me, and I want you to tell me. And I'm like, they're like, I want you to tell me the truth, and I'm like, oh no, bitch, no, you don't. Like, no, you're not even ready for that. And the thing is, you already know. If you're asking me, if you've already got all these things in your mind,
that's what I say.
You don't need me to validate it for you, because when I do, the first thing that you do is then you go back and you get mad at your boyfriend or your husband, and you go and say, oh, well, Christina gave me a reading and she said that you were, and then he's like, oh, that bitch doesn't know anything, she's fake. And then, then they make up, and then now I'm no longer the friend.
Both of them are mad at you. Exactly. Right. I can't with that. So I won't do things that are in regards to love. I won't do that. I've been at love spells. I don't believe in those things. You don't want, I feel like you're going to open up Pandora's box with a love spell, and then he's going to love you to death or something like that. I can't stop him. I don't want to be a part of any of that. And then the ones who got like the boyfriends, I want to know if they're cheating. You don't want to know this. If you like, my first thing is if you have to ask me that, then you already know the answer to it. So you
Right. If
just,
you already feel that way, you need that
then you know
somebody
the
you
answer.
shouldn't be with, because
Right.
that's not a good relationship if you already have these insecurities with no real evidence. And now you're,
Exactly.
but again, like you said, as a psychic, people come to us wanting, information, and they cling to it. Like whatever you say, like if you say, "Oh no, he's not cheating on you," they will 100% believe that.
Ooh,
Okay,
I
I'll give
know.
it a
I
stop.
know. I completely, let me tell you, this is what I did a reading for a girl who found me online. See, back in the day when I used to promote that I was a reader, um, I had like 5,000 friends and followers and things on my page. Now I've got like 600. So this to let you know how far I disconnected myself. I had 5,000 friends. I was at the tip point, couldn't take any more friends, but I had tons of people who were following me. And yeah, I can't, how do I explain this? I want to make perfect sense when I explain this because it's important. Okay. So I had a ton of people who were following me, more and more people coming on and being friends and things every day. I'm sitting in I found myself in the paranormal arena, the paranormal. You gave me another word for it, not industry, but the paranormal field.
Field.
There you go. So I had a ton of people who were in the paranormal field, who were friends and things on my page and following. And okay, the reason why I say this, I want to touch on a couple things really quick with inside of this one little story because I know we've been here for a long time and I just don't want to keep. So anyway, I had a ton of people who were following me, a lot of friends, a lot of connections in the paranormal world, the paranormal field. And like you said, you're a rebel. You sit on the fringe of things, and I did too. I'm not a part of the paranormal field. Do I do walkthroughs? Absolutely. Do I do house clearings? Sure. Do I consider myself part of the paranormal field? No, I don't. I'm not. I'm just an individual who has these gifts, and so I'm not out there like, hey, I'm part of this team. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's beautiful. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I'm just who I am. So I'm just this individual. In regards to being able to tell, how do I explain this? In regards to being able to tell who God, I'm trying to stay away from certain words. I'm trying so hard to like not use certain, because I'm not trying to go for the kill on anybody. I get that certain people really believe that they've got these gifts, and I know that they really believe that they're doing a service. I know that they do. And there's well, I can't say all of them. Some of them really believe they're doing a service. I don't want to use the words like charlatan, fake, or, bad psychic and things like that. I don't want to give power to those words in this conversation. I'm trying so hard.
I will. I don't give a damn. There's a bunch of fake ass psychics out there. Fake as hell.
That's why I love you.
Fake ass bitches need to go away and stop this.
It's true. It's true. Like I said, I had over 5,000 connections at one point, and you would bump into that left and right, and people testing you and trying you out left and right, trying to see, well, hey, I want to just pick this part. What do you know about me? Or hey, I hate that shit. Let me be honest. I really fucking hate that shit because it's not like a light switch. Don't play with my psychic brain and just try to switch it on so I can see what do you know about me? I'm not necessarily, I can't, I don't like it. Like I said, I had over 5,000 connections, and you run into that kind of stuff consistently, different kinds of, how can I put it? You run into different kinds of motives. You run into people who really honestly think that they can, and God bless them, they just don't understand that being able to do a reading, you have to learn how. There is a cadence. There is a way that a reading comes out. It's a way that you do a reading, so you don't leave things open-ended and leave a person out there like, well, what do I do next? You don't. There's a way that you lead a reading, and they don't know. They either A, never had a real one, or B, they just decided to pop up shop and take what they think are gifts and put it out there for the people just to give them money for it. Like you said, it's about the money at that point. So it's not about the money. It is about more than that. Then you meet the people who are just absolutely, like you said, it's a bunch of fake ass psychics up in this bitch. There's some people who are out there who understand that people are vulnerable. Just like I consider those people who are psychics the same as I do pastors who are out there praying on the people who are in the congregation, who are giving them money because they want prayer, and they're not getting that. So I just, you run into so many different kinds of these things. And I just, basically, I guess what I'm trying to get at is something solid, something you can take away and to be able to protect yourself. Like Christina said about the questions, truthfully, a person questions, it's called intuition. It's in the name. It's by definition what it is. It's not, I'm not asking you a ton of questions to learn about. You're asking a bunch of questions like your birthday. They're asking, just little things about your life. Then that's a red flag. If you go see a psychic or you go in to see a medium and you go into what I call the parlors, and I hate those things. I really am not real, but to each his own. If you go into one of the parlors or something like that, be constant. Don't wear a shirt that says, "Hi, my name is so and so."
Happy to be single, or
yeah, exactly. Just what you got going on. Don't. Don't. Of course, my favorite color is pink. Pink. In other words, you don't give too much of your information about who you are.
And you'd be surprised all the nonchalant things that people say or do that give fake psychics, clues on where to go. I also say, like, when you're having a reading, you be mindful that you're not like shaking your head, you're not talking, you're not, or doing all this stuff. Again, some of the things that people will look for they'll look for, if you have a wedding ring on, again, if you have a wedding ring on, then, if they're like, oh, well, I see you, married, I see you have a significant, oh, well, duh, or if they're talking about, grandma, just a random, right. Like if somebody's, telling you, oh, they see your grandmother around you, look, you need a little bit more information than just grandma. Like, we have multiple grandmas, like, which one is it? What do they look like? What was the name? Now, again, not everybody can get all this information, but a real true psychic should be able to pull up information, to give to you that will make sense, that that nobody else should know, especially the person that's reading you.
Exactly. See, that I'm so glad that you said that. It's interesting how spirit will give you those things. You don't even have to ask for that, because the thing is, spirit on the other side, they have this message that they're so passionately want to get to the person who's on the other side, who's coming to see them. They want to give this message just as bad as this person wants to get it. And so they will give you things to say that just this person will understand. You don't have to. I'm sorry, my baby is grabbing the camera. Can you grab the baby?
He's like, I want to be on live.
I know, I want to be on cam. A little naked guy. I'm sorry.
Well, let's go to a couple more of the signs, because I know that you're going to have to get back to your baby here soon too. So we've been going on. So another one is if they offer to remove a curse from you, or they tell you that you have a curse. Big one. Like, oh, that drives me crazy. And we see that in a lot of, like what you say, like the psychic parlor shops, where they're doing crystal ball reading or tarot card reading. Like, I had somebody who did palm reading. Yeah, we were in San Francisco, and I guess the shop wasn't making any money. And so they were walking up and down Fisherman's Wharf, and they were offering $10 psychic readings, right? And so, of course, my daughter at the time, she was young, and she was like, "Oh, Mom, like she does what you do. That'd be so fun. Let's get a reading." And I'm like, Okay, $10. Like, it's just
I
like
can lose $10.
I could lose $10 because I already knew it was going to be bullshit. But I'm like, all right, $10. So there's two ladies, and so I said, all right, we'll do it. So she's like, okay, I'll do the one for your daughter. I'll do the one for you. So the lady that is doing mine, it is just absolute bullshit. Like everything that came out of her mouth was wrong. I was just rolling my eyes. But again, I'm like, Christina, it's just like this is like the same things like for
For
entertainment
entertainment
purposes
purpose.
only. So
Exactly.
I just got entertained of how stupid this lady sounds. So she said, so was it how so you happy with the reading? I'm like, absolutely not. You didn't get a damn thing right. And she's like, oh, well, for another $10, I
Really?
can do something more in depth. You're lucky I'm going to give you $10, right? So then my daughter comes, and the lady that she comes, she's like, I give the one lady $10. I go give her 10. She's like, oh no, it's $40. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh no, it's going to be mine for your daughter is $40. And I was like, oh no, like you got to be $10 and get the hell away from me. And see,
No.
those are the kind that I will now go on a live stream. I will videotape you. I'll tell my story. I'll let everybody around me know
Know
that
about
it's
who
like
this
that.
is. Right. And see what people don't get, like in marketing. This is where it's interesting. This is how that works. See, the $10 is a funnel, basically. It
Yeah.
brings you into the beginning of the funnel at $10 because it's what we call in marketing a tripwire. It's to see if you will even pay, because most people will keep walking, and if they don't
Right.
pay, then you don't. There's nothing you can do with them. But those who will trip over the $10 and give you the $10, then they know that okay, move them to the second part of the funnel. The second part of the funnel is to tell them, oh, you got dark spirits around you. I see darkness around you. And think of, first of all, when a person will tell you negative things like this and start the reading in a doom and gloom, run, because we don't do that. We're looking at the best aspects of your life, how to get you to a point where you are happy. We're listening to spirit tell us about how, I'll put it this way. We're listening to spirit tell us about all the different aspects of your life because we're looking for the best outcome. I'm not trying to tell you when you're gonna die. I don't want to know that, and I know you don't want to know that. I don't want to mess with that. What? Yeah.
Well,
But
hell,
when you
I've been
go into
waiting
these
to die for
primers,
the last 15 years. So, like, if they
that's
could give me a date, it would actually be kind of okay for me. I'm all right. But
I
they
don't
can't
want
even get that shit right. So,
look, I don't want to know. Look, I've been in and out of the hospital a gazillion one, because we've been friends for a long time, and I don't want to know. I'm cool. I'm good on that. I don't need to know that. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the energy in it. I want to deal with, okay, while we're here, how do we get to create our best lives? Spirit, what do you have to say? What do you need to tell me to tell this
okay.
person? What message do you have to tell me to give to them so that they're able to achieve that, or whatever it is that they're looking to achieve? That's the point. Not to tell somebody, oh, you got doom and gloom around you, and I see all this in your home, and it's bleeding over into this, and your relationships are bad because of it. You'll never find the person you love because you got this dark force on you. And when you tell a person about, I'll never find a person I'm gonna love, what? I'll never find this, or what?
Right.
Then you got them in a panic and a tizzy. You move them to the second part of the funnel, and then they're like, okay, well, for $2,500, I'll light $125 candles for you and pray away the badness. And then you'll meet your love, and girl, I can already see him. He's tall, dark, and handsome. I don't even like dudes that look like that. I like a medium, thick,
Exactly.
light skin. I just, I just,
They're like, they think that's going to be your dream guy. And you're like, wow, that's not a dream for me. I don't want that kind of person.
Is yellow bone with green eyes. What are you talking about? I like this.
Absolutely.
What do you mean? And so you will get you will get that. You will get that. But be very, very careful. Watch.
Hold on. I got to put down my shade because the
Oh,
sun is like beaming right on me like a laser beam.
no, I'm really, really, really glad to have discussed this. I mean, we discussed a lot of things about it. So I'm hoping that the people who are listening understand now what it looks like from the eyes of a psychic, or the eyes from a person who actually really has third eye abilities or second sight abilities, or whatever you want to call it. They just have the ability to see some things that other people can't. It is not fun. You
Yeah.
bump into
And
someone.
people just need to be a little bit more proactive doing your research. Now, again, it's hard because it's not like we have like Yelp for psychics, right? So
We should. Now
we do need that. Okay, girl.
right?
That needs to be our new business, and you can build it, and we're gonna have like a
Directory.
referral site and a rating site for psychics around the
We're
U.S.
joking, but
because
that would actually be awesome to do.
it, it would probably make lives of people much easier, and people could leave feedback and give them 5 stars or 1 star and everything. So people had something. I mean, look, when we're looking for an electrician or a plumber, like that's exactly what
That's
everybody
exactly what they
does, right?
do. They
But
yell
when
for
you
the
go to a
good.
psychic, nobody knows. Like, again, so since there's nothing like that, although now maybe me and Eric are going to create something like that, but until that time, what I say is that if you do want to get a psychic reading, because there are so many fakes out there, is talk to your friends. Talk to people who've had a reading. And if they got a really good reading, like talk to them and discuss some of the stuff that we've talked about on the show today. Did they ask a lot of questions of you? Did they ask for a lot of your background information? Did they tell you you have a curse? Did they give you any like bad stuff? Did they try to get more money out of you? All these
That's
different
a
things.
huge
And if
flag. If
you
they
don't
try
have
to
any
get
of
more
those,
money out of you, they try to schedule
yes,
another reading with you in a week or so. That look, anybody knows who does psychic readings or does readings for people. It does not serve you to stay coming to see a psychic every day. That's
right,
exactly what you shouldn't do. What you should be doing is building up your own intuition and developing your own clarity, so you are not dependent on this psychic. You do. That's not how
right,
this works. Any psychic who keeps stringing you along by their side, they're not doing you a service. We are here to help empower you, not to help make you codependent.
lead you in
Right,
right,
to keep you in my
absolutely,
pocket. Like I don't need you in my like. This is like this is one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that I am a marketer. I'm successful in that. I make that's where my money gets made. I do this because I love it. I still charge because I respect my gift and I respect myself. I still charge for it. I don't charge a lot, but the point is, we're going to have a law of
right.
even exchange. So, but I'm so glad that I do the marketing part of it, because I'm not worried about you coming back in to see me again because I need that money to pay my bills. I don't need that money to pay my bills. I don't. Like I said, I've worked with the energy of the universe. Yes, I do practice magic. Yes, I am an alchemist. Yes, I am a witch. Yes, I do practice those things. Yes, I'm a Rosicrucian. Yes, I do those things. But I need the law of, I need it to be law of equal, so that's what that's about. I don't want you to come back to me in 2 months for another reading. In fact, I don't want to see you again for another. I don't want to see you till next quarter, next whenever. I don't want, in other words, I don't, it's not my mission to keep you coming back to me to live off of my word. I'm not Jesus. However your beliefs may be in Jesus. I am not that. I am not an omnipresent God who knows. I'm just not that. Please don't look to me for that. I'm here as a translator to give you the information that is meant for you. Please go into the world with it. When you have a person who wants to consistently see you in their office or see you in their parlor every other week because they give you a little bit, but then you come back next week to get a little bit more, and then you come back a week after that to get a little bit more. When things are staggered and delayed like that, that's a red flag. Get out. Stop paying.
Yeah,
You don't need to come back 1,000 times. Our mission is to give you clarity when you leave. And if you don't have it completely, we'll talk to you about it. We will
right,
talk to
right.
you about it like people do. You're not on the clock at this point now because you're confused about what happened in this reading. We're going to talk about it till you gain clarity or till you have it. We are people. When you have somebody
Right.
who puts you on the clock like that, and that's a red flag. It's just a red
Right.
flag.
And a good reader, like you said, will give the reading, and then at the end of the reading, go over everything if you have any questions and try to give you that clarification or clarity that you need. And then you have to take that information and go and figure out what to do with it and
Right.
how to let it go. Some people, no matter what information you get, they're just so stuck in the Debbie Downer, state that they just can't see it ever happening or believe it. So again, there's not going to be anything you can do for them. Sometimes I've found that people come to me for readings because they just don't have anybody else around and they just want somebody to interact with them and help them because they feel lonely. Look, I can't charge you for that. Like,
No,
that's
I
just
can't
being a
find
friend.
it.
That's not a
Right.
freaking psychic reading. That's somebody that you need somebody and you need some just friendship advice,
Right.
and again, advice opposed to a psychic reading are two completely different things. When
There's
you're doing a psychic reading, Your personal opinions and thoughts should not have a thing to do with your reading. When you're giving advice, oh yeah, I'm going to give you all of my personal feelings about the thing, how things are
Exactly.
going and what you're doing. So if you get a lot of that, again, be aware. Also, if a psychic is asking you for your personal or your financial information,
Why in the
super big, super big
huge
flag.
run? Because I'm going to tell you, there's no reason in the world that I need to know about your checkbook. In fact, I don't even need to know where you bank. I don't need to know anything about your financial situation. In fact,
Right.
knowing about the financial situation does me a disservice because it goes with that conflict. Did it come from me or is it coming to me? I don't want to know about all of that. I don't want to know.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tammy, I agree. And also, Lorraine was saying, wonderful interview. And I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying, the interview today. I mean, again, we've kind of gone up on about all kinds of stuff, but I think that it's also very important stuff that we're talking about. And again, anybody who follows me, they know, like, my live streams, even in my shows, you never know where the discussion may go. This is actually a pretty good discussion because it could have been a whole lot grimier, to be honest.
I know.
Let's say. Also, if they ask if they're asking for money to remove a curse or tell you that you have a curse, again, run away, run far, far away. The chances that you actually have a curse are pretty slim. And if you do have a curse for some reason, there are ways to get rid of it other than to pay $2,500 or whatever to get rid of them. There are different things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and in getting rid in the really unlikely event that is the case, that you have some sort of curse or something like that, you have to be a part of getting rid of that. You have to be. I can't pray away your curse. That's not gonna happen. I can't light 25 candles and pray away your curse. Not gonna happen. Now I understand witchcraft works, and there's some things that, yeah, I get that, but no, in this realm, I can't pray away your curse. It's not going to happen. You got to be active in that. It's a joint effort. It's not something that somebody sitting in a building or in an office or at a table with a bunch of lit candles can get rid of for you. It's not. It doesn't. Like I said before, it doesn't work like this. It doesn't work anything like this.
Especially if you find a psychic out in Los Angeles who's a witch as well that wants to charge you $3,500 to get rid of your curse that was actually just a human spirit that took a simple cleansing and was out. Not to name any names, but sometimes I just so want to just put people on blast. You have no idea. Like, I want to, now that I've got Be Live, like, I can share my screen. Like, I want to go to their profiles and give them a blast out there so people know where to find them so that they can stay away from these people, because I feel like I'm doing a disservice of warning them about all these fake people that I know are out there doing things. So how do I put them out there like that and warn people about them if I don't name them personally? So that's why we're giving you some clues on what to look for, people. But you never know, another one may be coming where I just get decide to be a petty Betty, and I just decide to post everybody up on my page and just call them all out. I never know what happens with me. It just depends on the day and how I feel.
I love it.
Erika's the nice one, though. She would just be laughing from afar. Like, she won't jump in on there, but she'd be like, yep, that's my girl right there.
I swear off. I have like I said, I got a football team of kids, and I only have so much energy that I can allocate to so many things. So I used to be like, no, I'm calling you out. You right there. You look like blah, blah, blah. Your name is blah, 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 blah. Your address is. No, I used to be that way. I used to really want to, but now it's kind of like, look, I can give you the tools. I can help you if you want me to. These are my conditions. There's nothing more I can do about it. I just won't get involved. Because look,
you're so much better than me. You're so much better than me.
I couldn't do. No, I know my temper, and I know what I'm working with, and I can't. There's no way. I'm not going to let that out. No, like I said, the world is good with just one Erika. I don't need.
Maybe that's true. That's the same way I feel about me. But maybe it's true. Like, you still have, all your kids there. See, for me, all my kids are grown, and I'm by myself, and and now I'm 50, and like I have all this extra time that when I was young, like I was quick to want to fight and talk shit and go after people, and like I had no fear, like I did not care. And now, then I got all into, meditation and being, a person of the light. And I'm like, okay, Christina, you can't act like that anymore. You got to grow up and be a real, grown woman and be a good mom and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right. So then, but it's kind of come full circle, because I've noticed that now that I've gotten older, like I don't look for drama, but I don't really have if somebody really wants to call me out or really wants to like completely bother me, I found that I have a whole lot of extra time nowadays. And now with social media, I can just do a live stream, and instead of like typing all that shit up, because like people think I don't care what I say, but I do. I know I'm sarcastic, and I know I just say what the hell's on my mind. Sometimes it doesn't come off so well. But I used to, when I got mad, I would type up a whole rant, right? And people would get very upset at the things I said because they would take it wrong. So I'm like, okay, I've got to be a little bit more aware. So I would type up the whole rant, and I would walk away for an hour, and I would come back and I would reread it. Now, if it seemed like it was too harsh, I would change it, make it a little softer. But if somebody really pissed me off and I'm like, no, I think it sounds good, click and post it, and there you go. But now that we've got video, I'm like, I don't even have to type all that up. Like I can just say what's on my mind. And I have no like I've done a few shows, and now that I've got a radio show too, oh Lord, like really, like we could just do a show every week on the topic. Like I've been doing a few like lately, and people are like, oh Christina, that's so petty, and you shouldn't give them any energy. And I'm like, well, I don't have anything to do, and they seem to want my attention.
But it's in regard to this topic, it's not giving them energy. Truthfully, what this is about protecting other people and helping other people not fall victim to these kind of folks. So this isn't really necessarily, oh, daddy's got him, what happened? Maximus is teething now. He made it to 11 months old with no teeth, and now he's finally getting 2 little teethies at the bottom.
That's the worst.
He's not happy about it at all. He's chewing on everything. So.
Well, I will let you go so you can go and take care of your lovely baby, because we don't want him sad and in pains. But I want to say, girl, thank you so much. I mean, we always talk about doing these, and I'm glad that you did your little rant yesterday so we could bring this up and we could, discuss this online. I love you to death. We've been friends for a long time. It will always be that way. So we'll have to collaborate. Our next focus is to make a Yelp site for all the big sites.
Directory site, girl. I'm not even kidding. I really think that it would be of service. I
think so too.
That it would. And I think that you would. I think to even get in the directory, you've got to prove yourself to get into the directory. Even I just think, or either, well, we'll figure out all the little intricacies of it.
Yeah,
but
we'll figure that out. Maybe we just have like a whole forum, like where people can like post different psychics and comment on them or whatever their experience is, and then maybe we have like the starred group that we know are good, and those are the people we recommend.
There you go. Exactly. We'll figure it all out. The point is, I think that honestly it should be out there. I'm gonna Google and see that if it already exists. If it does, that's great. We can improve on the idea. So I think
that's right
to happen, because people are getting duped out here. I've heard people have lost $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 to these charlatans. And to be honest with you, what I'm seeing in the chamber right now, I'm seeing $900 an hour psychics in the chamber right now. You mark my word on this. They're in the chamber, and they're preparing to take this whole world by storm as the cyber celebrity. Trust me, them $1,000 hour psychic readings are coming. Don't fall for it, because just be careful. All the things that we have told you here today, those are tools that you can use. Be careful of what you say. Be mindful of what you wear and what you take with you to see someone if you're seeing a psychic in person. Be mindful of all of those things. Don't give your information. Protect yourself. Yes, you can share your energy. Yeah, you can share. You can open that energy between you and the psychic so they can read, but be careful about your real world stuff. Be mindful about that. Protect your real world stuff. These people, not everybody has your best interest at heart, and you got to know that. Even though we are light workers, there's varying degrees of how much light exists in each one of us. So be careful.
And wherever there's light, there's also dark. So you have to be careful. Not everybody has good intentions for you out there when you're doing a reading. Again, there are a lot of people who will use you, and they'll seem like they're very, compassionate to what you're going through. And again, and then like you said, okay, well, let's meet again next week. Let's set up another session. Well, what the hell? Why can't you tell me what I need to know right now? Like, why does it have to be broken up into sessions?
Exactly.
So we'll work on how to help people find real psychics. Believe me, I know enough psychics, real and fake, that we could probably have a whole website. And I'd be the first one to post them all too.
I knew you would.
And then I'll put a link and have everybody like when they do the award ceremony, like when you're casting your votes, I'll put the link up so everybody can go and leave feedback if they've ever had a reading with these people. And we could get a buzz on this. I'll promote it on the show. Oh yeah, I really seriously. I really think that it's something that is important. I think that it would be utilized a lot if that was available to people, because again, people are just blindly going on the internet or on Facebook, and they're going through their list of friends and they're like, oh yes, I'm a I literally, I've known people that have been on Facebook for 10 years, never ever heard them say anything about being a psychic. I've never heard about them doing a reading, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, we're charging $65 for a 15-minute reading. And I'm like, since when? So I'd be the first one to pop up and say, oh, I like to do it, but if you're not accurate, I don't. Clients, they don't like that one too much.
I know. And see, this is one thing that I hope people will see. Like, I've been on Facebook for a very long time. I've been on the internet for a long time. If you Google me, I got a footprint that goes all the way back to the 90s, if you know where to look. So
I want some juicy, interesting information. All you gotta do is Google me. There is so many stories out there that I have a pretty interesting life, I guess. I feel kind of bad that my life is so damn boring in real life. But if I Google myself, and I love it even more, is that every time that somebody gets mad at me, they'll be a follower and a friend for 4 or 5 years, right? Got readings, love me. They can't talk enough good stuff about me. And then something happens and they don't like what I say, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm gonna go find some dirt on Christina. So they go and they Google me and they're like, oh, look at what we found, she's got skeletons in the closet. And I'm like, bitch, that is not research, that is Googling me.
No, it's funny. It's just they hold you to a very different standard, I suppose, when you are, and I'll just put it this way. We're here to help you. We're here to help you. Period. The ones of us who care, we're here to help you. Those of us who aren't, take those tips that we gave you and use them. When you sit on this,
they have a money back guarantee. That's what I think that they.
You know what? I would love that. And see, that's the one thing. I don't say it. I won't tell you, but I'll do it. If I can't read, if I can't read you like that, then I won't take it. Or like I said, I'll give you the next one on me. Like I said, I remember having a client where I felt in the reading, I could see clearly there were things that I could see that I shouldn't have known. I could see about her business, and I knew we never talked about this part. And I could see dualities. I could see some things about her situation. But like I said, it was fragmented coming around the sides of things, and I couldn't see it straight on. And because of that, I'm like, it was 90 minutes. At 90 minutes, that's $100. I'm not going to sit here and no, you can come back. We can spend another 90 minutes. You don't have to spend another $100. Are you kidding me?
Right.
No,
right.
I don't feel right unless it's right. She insisted to get another reading, and she insisted to pay. I'm like, no, you don't pay for this. You don't have to pay for it. I felt like it just didn't go right. Now, I don't know how she felt, but the way I felt, it was like, nah, I couldn't clearly get a straightaway on your information. So the next one is on me.
But again, when I noticed that, again, when people do pay for readings, as long as they got some information that's valuable to them, they feel like it's worth it. I don't
They
think when they pay that they expect that everything that you say to them is going to make
be
sense to them.
super on, right.
Right. So, I mean, sometimes like when people will get information, because like I said, I get stuff sometimes, and I get people who have kind of this duality. Like I will see a road with a fork in the road. And
Mm-hmm.
so if they go to this, this route, this is going to be the outcome.
If
And
you
if you
go,
go this route,
this
but
is
the thing is it's ultimately, it has nothing to do with me. It has the
your
decision
choice.
on what they do in life. So
Absolutely.
again, don't take, so much so personally from us. It's not for us. It's not a personal thing. It should not be a personal thing. So if somebody's, also if they come in, it's unsolicited. Okay. Now it's one
Yes.
thing. Psychics will get information, just like Erika and I had said. You'll be in the weirdest places, and somebody will pop up, and they have a message that they want you to give out. But that we just give. We're not coming. If we come up and say, oh, we have a message for you, I could set up a reading for you for however much money. Run. It
No.
should not be unsolicited. If it's unsolicited, any person that's a psychic, a really good psychic that is just randomly out somewhere and is contacted, they need to give a message. I don't know any real legit psychics that would then charge for that information. Unless you come to
No.
me and
No.
say, I want a reading, then I'm going to charge you. But anything that I get to help you, or I just come to do, like, that doesn't come with a price tag. So if somebody says, I've got some information, I've got a message, would you like to set up a reading? No, bitch, just give me the fucking message.
Message. Exactly. Like we were, and my husband and I were at Denny's one morning, and it
See,
was just
another F-bomb. I can't even help it.
no. We were were we at Denny's or were we at IHOP? We were somewhere. We were having breakfast at a pancake waffle house thing here or some other whatever. The waitress who came over to the table, she came over to the table, and I whispered, she took our order and she walked away, and I whispered to my husband, I said, when she came to the table, there were two of them. She's pregnant. Now, mind you, super flat tummy, teeny tiny little girl, just little bitty, perfect still, her first baby at that. So, you still got the flat tummy, and into month 4,
Right.
you still got the flat tummy.
Right.
Oh, so jealous. Anyway.
You look amazing. Don't be jealous.
I'm kidding. Thank you. I'm just kidding. I don't even care anymore. I'm a chubby chick, and I like being chubby. I'm cool. I don't have to apologize for anything. You expect the role. I don't have to apologize for it. So it's great.
The only one that matters about that is your husband, and your husband, or Alexander. He love you too. He love everything about you. So
he's a Southern man. He likes a girl with a little bit of meat on her bones.
that's right.
we were
holding on to a bone.
I know it was, yeah. Wow. That really makes me think about some things during the sickness and all that, how we'll have another sister girl conversation about that. Anyway, wow. The point I was getting at was we were at the IHOP or the Waffle House, and the waitress came over, and I saw there was two. She was pregnant. So when she came back again, she saw a book on my table that was about basically helping people to develop their senses, all of their senses, because that has to do with your psychic awareness or your psychic ability, being able to sharpen all of the senses that you got to work with. So the book was on my table about that. And she, who's the psychic at the table? And I didn't say a word. And my husband said, her. And I'm like, yeah. And I actually have a message for you. And I'm sorry. I don't know if you know this or not, but they're screaming at me, sweetheart. You're pregnant. And she says, yeah, I know. I just found out. That was beautiful. And so we started talking about it, started telling her about her husband and the courses that her husband needed to take in order to be able to level up his career. I could see it. And the funniest thing was he had just signed up to start taking the classes that I was talking about. So she knew what I was talking about. And so she turns around and she goes and tells all the other waitresses in the rest of the restaurant that, oh my God, there's a psychic at table number so-and-so. And so they start coming over and bringing things that we didn't ask for.
Yeah, people don't do that to psychics. If we want to be known, we would stand up on the table and say, hey, everybody, I'm a psychic medium, and I'm here. If anybody has any questions, please come and interrupt my dinner and my breakfast and my lunch, because I have nothing better than to do than to give you the information. So yeah, don't do that, people. Don't do that. Like, I hate that. And literally, I hate telling people that I'm a psychic medium when I meet new people, because it's always the same thing. The little eyebrow goes up. They don't really know what to think about me. And then, even if they don't verbally say it, they want a reading. They want proof. And so I feel like I am constantly having to prove myself. And I'm like, why do I even prove? Like, what's the point? Like,
I
but
know.
that is where we end up at.
I know, until we draw the line. I did an interview, I think it was about 4 years ago. He hosts a paranormal radio show. His name is Drew Pillow. I did an interview with him 4 years ago, and I
Well, I'm
was on
glad
his.
I don't have anything bad to say about him then.
No, Drew is awesome. Drew is cool as hell. He's really awesome.
I could name a whole bunch of other people that aren't.
I know. You know what? We're gonna cap off a whole 30 minutes just dedicated to you in that list. That's what
Yeah, we're gonna do another live stream. It's gonna be like call out of the fakers, and I'm gonna give. I have to figure out how to work Be Live still. So once I figure that out, where I can screenshot and I can share the screen. Oh yeah, it's on, girl. People better beware.
I know it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. But I'm just really glad that we had the opportunity. Thank you for opening up the forum to discuss this. Many people have had this topic on their mind for a very long time, and they either for whatever reason just didn't want to discuss it. So
yes, Renee, it's a long list. It would take us much longer than what we have. So we have been going on for a long time. I'm going to let you get back to your family, but I love you, girl, and thank you so much for bringing this topic to the forefront so we could discuss it, and we will have another one very soon.
Absolutely. All righty, sweetie. It was so nice to be here. And to all of your viewers, thank you guys for sitting in. I see there are 91 comments. Wow, that's awesome. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going.
I'll have fun going through those. All right.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We will be back, and you can join me on Thursday night for Top Secret News. We're going to be having the artist that sketched out what my black-eyed children and my black-eyed woman look like. So we're going to do the big reveal. Everybody knows that I've been wanting that to be put into, actually drawn up so people could see what I saw that day, and she's been working on it. So we're going to be revealing that to everybody. So it's going to be a great show. Make sure to join us. Wow. Yes, I don't know. I don't even know why I wanted to do that per se, but because once she did it, I think that I truly believe that if I ever found somebody, like, they would do a sketch, but it wouldn't like bring back, or it wouldn't really show what they look like. Because I'm like, well, like, do I know how to like describe them so that somebody could draw them the way they look and everything? And oh man, she shocked me, and it was dead on. And the thing is that now, even to look at it, it creeps me out. It brings it back to that day. So she did a very good job. So we are definitely going to give that debut. So it'll be interesting.
Message you about that one. I've got to message you about that one because we got a big thing about that whole. Yeah, later. I'm gonna.
All right.
All right.
You got it. All right. All right, everybody. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Yay.
Okay.
All right.